ahead and get started.
Okay, I've switched.
Perfect. Let me switch over. I just finished prepping the last encounter. So, and we might not even need it today. I don't think you guys will get that far, but we'll see. So, welcome everyone to What Lies Below. This is a massive dungeon crawler that is broken up into 5 main quote-unquote acts or segments. It has an overarching sweeping story. It has smaller subplots. It has some intrigue. It has a little bit of epic arc kind of story going on, and its primary focus, the main draw for this, is going to be kind of an almost 2E style dungeon crawler. I've taken a couple of different modules in terms of just their assets and kind of cannibalized those. So if you recognize any, just know that they've probably been heavily changed from what they originally were, because I don't keep anything usually except for just the maps and, I don't know, maybe a custom monster or two. But you will probably recognize a map or two here if you play any of the official modules, such as Tales from the Yawning Portal or Lost Mine of Fendelver. I've cannibalized a ton of stuff from Dungeon of the Mad Mage because that's what it was built for, was the huge dungeon crawler. But at the same time, it's been changed so heavily, the only thing that's really left is just the map. But this campaign is going to focus a little bit on exploration, just a tiny bit. It's going to focus on kind of dungeon crawling, getting in there, and loot and XP and just kind of standard, like, think Diablo, and that's kind of the feel that we're aiming for. But we also want to do this with like a cool story in the backdrops. If you're not familiar, the story so far, you are all members of one faction or another, be it the Merchants Guild, the Astorian Explorers Guild, the Vigil, maybe a faction of your own. Maybe you have your own mercenary company. But one way or another, you're all here because of the call. A couple of weeks back, the Astorian Explorers Guild sent out a mass call for adventurers. They needed all the help that they could get. And you answered. Whether you're here for the Vigil or your own needs or the Mages Association, you're here. The dig was going well, and a couple of days into the dig, something happened. A fissure opened up underneath the main portion of the camp and swallowed most, if not all, of the members of the dig. This includes over 170 just typical builders and workers, 60 or 70 faction members, just a ton of people. Overall, it's about 350 people that are down here, including yourselves. And at first, it was chaotic and hectic. There were a couple of deaths in the fall, but most people got through with only minor injuries or none at all. And where you ended up was a large underground complex. This complex, which is being referred to as Deep Hollow by everybody that's anybody, is dangerous. Just the first level alone saw many deaths from the local denizens, which happened to be of the animated construct variety. There's been quite a lot of those, and also some oozes. There's definitely an ooze problem. The biggest issue, however, are the stone cursed. These are animated statues or carvings or something similar to that have been ambushing people in the night. They seem to be the only thing that you've discovered that's able to penetrate the walls of Deep Hollow, as any constructed wall within Deep Hollow has proven to be completely and totally impervious to any mundane methods of breaking or cracking or splintering apart. Pickaxes shatter on these walls, and the stone within Deep Hollow is almost has a mind of its own. A couple of days ago, the second floor was... This was about a week into the fall, or the collapse, as it's being called. And so far, it's proven a bit of an issue. 3 teams have gone in, 0 teams have come out. There has been no response. You each going about your daily duties for one reason or another, whatever you might do during the day. There's lots to do here in camp. Sometimes there's nothing to do, though, and those are the worst times. But eventually, you were all gathered one by one by members of the Council of the Triumvirate, or the Deep Hollow Pact. You see, the 3 major factions down here, the Vigil, the Mages Association, and the Astorian Explorers Guild, while they have their differences, have finally settled on a method of governance while down here, as it has been impossible to get out. Teleportation magic doesn't work. Digging doesn't work. Nothing works. And so the only way to go is down. And to organize this effort, they have formed the Deep Hollow Pact, which is a massive coalition of the 3 factions, over 350 people in total, with additional representation of some other factions here and there. You've seen the representative of the Astorian Merchants Guild. You've seen representatives of the circles. But for the most part, down here, it's the Vigil, the Mages Association, and the Astorian Explorers Guild. And you're all gathered and brought to the Athenaeum. Let me change. Over 1 second here. No. Okay, cool. You were all gathered and brought to the Athenaeum, which was the last place discovered on floor 1. This is a massive open area that has kind of been commandeered by the 3 factions, and it's called such because when they found it, it was filled with books. It is a massive underground library. Kind of an enigma. All of the books underground so far that you found have been written in various styles of language that are not used very often today. The type of language that you wouldn't necessarily consider, even studying. And this has proven difficult, as not many people down here actually speak these languages or can read these languages. And those that can have been kind of recruited into translating some of these texts. Most of these happen to have been spell books, but a lot of them reference the Deep Hollow structure itself. As you enter into the Athenaeum, you're greeted by a fountain in the center, a fountain of crystal clear water, one of the few sources of drinking water that you've managed to find down here. Every other source has been contaminated by some purple violet fungi, and you are not familiar with it, but so far the effects of drinking it have been rather unpleasant. There have been a few deaths involved in this, and those that have survived have gone on to be lethargic, barely able to move, comatose. You see the council of the Deep Hollow Pact, the 3 leaders, one from each of the major factions, gathered around a table. And as you enter, they all look to you. The first one, Bryce Cromwell, you've probably only met a few times. He's kind of the no-nonsense sort. He's the representative of the Vigil here within Deep Hollow. He gives you a solemn nod as you enter and turns. Next to him stands Akira of the Skylands, the representative of the Mages Association. Now, Akira, you've met many times. He is kind of known for kind of fraternizing with everyone. He goes around and makes sure that everyone's okay. He'll hang out with you. He'll share a beer with you. Well, that's if there's any to be had. He gives you another nod and a smile. And finally, the last person speaks up. This is Hayan. She is a dragonborn from the Astorian Explorers Guild. She's one of their directors, which is one of the highest ranks. And she's also been appointed as foreman of the Deep Hollow Pact, as she's pretty much the most neutral party involved.
You have answered the call at last.
Please, step forward, let me see you. Ah, yes, you. She points to you, Sige. Is it Sige or Siege? Siege, okay. She points to you, Siege. You have nice broad shoulders. You will do nicely. Looks over at you, Rel. And you look smart and cunning. I like you already. She looks to you, you. Whoa. You, I'm not so sure about a shady character, but you will become very useful in the future, I imagine. And finally, to Amalia, she looks. And what's this, practitioner of the arcane? Yes. You will all do very nicely. We intend to have you, you see, go down into the second floor. Now, I'm sure you've heard horrors and tales of the others, but don't worry about it. We've done a little investigating, and we know why they fail. You see, well, they weren't prepared. They went down without enough information. Now, the information that they were missing happens to be that it is very dangerous down there. So please, do be careful. And she kind of chuckles to herself in this almost mad way, and you see Bryce behind her just give this, like, this kind of, I don't know about all this weird stuff look. I am asking you to go down, and there will be great payments down here, as you are aware. Food is scarce, but for those that go down and come back, full rations. What do you say?
I accept. Rel kind of looks around. I guess. We need to eat.
And you? She points to you. You?
I guess so. But, hey, guess what? I have fishing tackle.
Yes, there is fishing to be had, only a little though. You see, we've fished the streams dry. We'll talk about fishing in a moment. Now, you, Amalia, are you okay with this deal? Full rations, as long as you stay here.
Yeah? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? If we die, we don't need food, right?
Exactly. I love the way you think. Yes, darling. Yes, I love it.
Well, mine's
Now,
just for the little one, and I point to Yin.
oh, I'm sure your dragon thing can eat just fine. Umbers don't need that much anyway. I would know. I'm related to. You see Akira behind her just give this. It's the kind of forced laugh that somebody gives whenever they're just really trying to make sure that they're asserting that something was funny. Bryce still is stone-faced, and at this point, Bryce does step forward. He kind of knocks his knuckles on the table, which there is a large map kind of covering that details the encampment itself. All right, Hyan, that's enough. We'd like you to go down there with a little bit more information than the previous teams. You see, we did have one return recently, and the news is not good. Down there, on floor 2, what we've seen is oozes, the usual, constructs, the usual, but we've also started seeing undead. This adds a new element to the mix. They reported ambushes straight out of the walls, similar to what we've seen here when the stone curse burst into camp. You need to be on your guard.
Wait, you mean the undead are coming out of the walls?
Yes. They're being led by a singular stone curse each time. And what's worse is we've started seeing more varieties of the stone curse. They're not just the weird humanoid statues that we've been seeing. Instead, they're other types of humanoids or even strange misfigured shapes. They seem to have the ability to penetrate the walls within Deep Hollow, unlike anything we've seen so far.
What if you try to use one of their bodies as a pickaxe?
We tried that. It doesn't work. The second that they die, they crumble into dust. We've tried mixing the dust up and forming something out of it. Still doesn't work.
Is there
Anybody know
any...
mind magic?
I don't think so.
Is there any better way to kill them than a straightforward assault?
They seem to be particularly susceptible to magic, but normal weapons have taken down most of the lesser ones. There have been reports of, for lack of a better word, I would call them lieutenants. They're larger, they're stronger, they seem to lead the others. And those normal weapons don't seem to do a whole lot. We have had a lot of luck with adamantine weapons, however, they are very, very short supply right now. If we could find a vein of adamantine, that would be ideal for handling the stone cursed.
Supposing you can smelt it.
We have a handful of smiths here in the camp that have previous smithing experience with adamantine, so that shouldn't be much of an issue. But we don't have much in the way of forging material.
Siege is going to approach the map and just kind of tap it with 2 fingers. Do we get to take this with us?
I pull out my sketch pad and I start sketching it.
Or that?
Looking at the map itself, this is a map of the encampment. I can actually give me a second here. I don't remember if I uploaded this. I think I did and then accidentally deleted it. Whoopsie daisy. This is a map of the encampment so far, and there's not really any information that you don't already know on it.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, this isn't something new. This is just them kind of discussing the encampment itself. They do have a small hand-drawn map of the areas that this particular scout has explored. However, it's very crude. And he does produce this, and he said, "This is about the best we've got when it comes to navigating down there. They don't get very far."
We'll ratify it then.
That would be much appreciated.
So, have you tried capturing these Stonecrest?
We've tried once or twice, but anytime they realize that they've been incapacitated, they die. They turn to dust. It's the same with the oozes. Anytime we capture one, it just ceases to become an ooze. It turns into jelly, pudding, whatever you want to call it.
You've captured an ooze? That's slightly terrifying.
We've captured 3 or 4 so far. They're doing something. Every now and then we'll see one come through the cracks within the encampment. Although they haven't caused too much of a trouble. Nothing like the Stone Cursed. Akira kind of speaks up in the background. Well, I mean, they've been after the books in particular. They seem to want to destroy the books we have here, and so that's why we've posted any kind of spins around and points to several people within the room, and you all see they're like very well armed. That's why we've posted these men here. They're a bit more skilled in fighting the oozes. You know, they're just relax a little bit. The oozes haven't been that big of an issue, except for when they hit floor 2. They're surprising. They just kind of come out of nowhere, it seems, from what the scout had told us. Now, what we really would love is not only just a map, like you had said, but if you could find us perhaps a sample of one of these oozes. You see, a sample might be more helpful, and I'm not talking about there's two types of oozes too. There's the humanoid oozes. They walk and they shape like a person. But then there's the lower to the ground ones, particularly the ones that I'm interested in a snake. They're snake-like. They're serpentine. They have fangs. And he makes like a fang motion in front of his mouth.
So you said the Stonecrest and the oozes were trying to destroy the books here?
Well, no. I'm sorry. The oozes are trying to destroy the books here. The Stonecrest haven't entered this room, as far as I know. They've been mostly interested in the people for some reason.
Two-prong attack. One gets the books, one gets the people.
Now, I recognize you're all very busy down here, and I hate to take away from your valuable free time, but I would really appreciate it if you could also, while you're down there, look for anything that would help us in the encampment. And Bryce kind of cuts him off. He goes, supplies. We're looking for ore. We're looking for adamantine. We're looking for numidium, if you can find it. We're looking for mithril. We're looking for silver. We're also looking for food. If you can find fresh water, especially fresh water with fish in it, that's ideal.
Well,
It needs to be drinkable.
it's a good thing that you have me. I'm like drawing and, well, I can map make.
That's kind of the most important thing. This is recon work. Don't engage any large forces on your own. That's just stupid.
We'll
No,
pick up
what's
whatever we can
stupid is
find.
the last two groups getting killed. Not thinking, oh, it's going to be a cakewalk. It's never a cakewalk.
Anything
No.
we should know about fighting the ooze? Is there some weakness they have?
They're particularly. It depends on what kind you're fighting. Some of them we've seen are easy to take down with a quick, swift thrust. If you can get on top of them and beat them down quickly, they go down without much of a fight. However, the ones that are more amorphous, the less humanoid ones, those, they do a number on any metal weapons that you use. If you have something that's disposable, that's what I would hit them with.
Well, we shouldn't tarry.
You can stop by and camp if you'd like. You can go see one of the quartermasters and tell them that Bryce has sent you with demands for provisions, giving each of you 10 days supply. Akira steps forward. By the way, if you find any books, I would very much like them. They seem rather interesting down here. And additionally, we've had word that there might be other people down below. We're not sure if they're people or not. Maybe they're not people, but they could be people. And if you make contact with them, be careful, cautious, but not brash. We don't want a war on our hands while we're down here. If they're a local civilization, I would really hate to bother them.
I'll make it a goal.
I appreciate it. And Hyan finally speaks up again. So, it is in agreement. I do wish you the best of luck. We will be sending a team in behind you after some 3 days. If we have not heard from you, try to report in.
How do you expect us to report in when we're down there?
You will come back. That's a part of recon. You go, you come back. You go, you come back. You report. You go, you report, you go.
Seems
I think we get the picture.
Thank you. Yes, of course you do. You're a very bright individual, and I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. Not like the others where they did the dying.
Yeah, we'll try not to do that.
Yes, don't do that. It's very bad. And you hear kind of another person enter into the room behind you. Kind of shoves past all of you a little bit. She's tall. She is elven in nature, although you notice a bit more about her. She's got like this fiery red hair that seems to almost have a mind of its own. It's all the way down to her lower back. She's got longer ears than most elves. She has this almost wild look about her. And some of you may recognize her. Rel, I think you in particular would probably know who this is. But as soon as she enters, Hyan kind of gives this. You see her tick for a moment. She kind of just twitches a little bit. And she, Haruka, what do you this visit for? And the woman turns to all of you, and she kind of just sneers. She looks down on you. Rat chasers again, I suppose. Have we made any progress on floor 2?
Beg your pardon?
She looks back at you. You are pardoned, yes.
Are you not coming along with us into the depths?
Oh, I'm afraid I don't sully my hands. I'm here on official business. You do be careful, though.
If we're rat chasers, you're just another rat trapped in this cage. I'd mind your words.
Akira, you see Akira, his eyes go wide, and he just, there's no need for any confrontation down here. I'm sure Miss Haruka was just
Being full of
playing.
herself.
Just playing. Haruka, what brings this visit? I wish for information on floor 2. Did you not hear me the first time? No, ma'am. I did not hear you. I don't think you have the authority to request that information. I could be wrong. We might have to consult with Master Hayan. And Hayan looks over at Haruka and looks back at Sige. No, rats don't have authority here. And you see the elf woman just bristle with anger, and she kind of turns towards all of you. If you would be so kind as to inform me on your return, I would be sure to pay you graciously. The College of Ashara extends its gratitude. She kind of sweeps this long cloak that she's wearing and starts to walk out of the room.
Rel raises her eyebrow at that.
Siege mutters something racist to himself.
Rel, you know this woman. You don't know her personally, but you do know of her, and you've also heard of the College of Ashara before. She is Haruka of the Pale Acres. She is one of the Grand Magi within the College of Ashara. Those of you that have seen her have seen her around just here and there. She's never really within the masses, and she's always flanked by 2 other individuals. Curiously, she wasn't this time, but she's almost always flanked by 2 other individuals that kind of follow her around everywhere she goes. She's very stuck up. She kind of, you can tell just by her demeanor in camp anytime that you've seen her that she's always kind of viewing everyone else as the unwashed masses. Hayan kind of looks over you. My apologies for the rudeness. She is a bit of a bitch, no?
An elf.
And Killer's like, hey, I'm an elf.
Noted.
Oh. Bryce, you can see Bryce, who's normally just super no nonsense, just holding back a smile. He's trying so hard.
Takes
Now-
all kinds, darling. All kinds.
All kinds indeed.
I wouldn't even sleep with her.
Oh. Is that your standard?
Random
No.
comment.
That's
Oh,
the
I don't know why.
point.
That's nothing. She spreads her wings a little bit. She goes, now, is there any questions? Well, I suppose that does it. Please, you have your way.
Sorry, continue.
No, go ahead. If you had something to say.
No.
Anyone
She
else?
kind of turns back around, and Akira gives you a nod, and Bryce salutes all of you, and he just, good luck. And he turns back to the map, and you can see them now drawing something on the map itself. They seem to be almost instantly wrapped up in other matters.
To the quartermaster, then?
Rel kind of eyes everyone up and down.
What are your
So-
names again?
Same goes to you, big boy.
I'm Siege.
I'm you. This is Yin. If you want to remember my name, think of you.
Clever.
And would you like to describe yourself?
She is a tiefling with blonde hair up in a ponytail with 2 ears on her head. She has a cat tail with beautiful pink cat-like eyes.
What about your dragon? Your little Amber?
She's cute.
That's so descriptive.
I can't. You do it.
Sure. You see kind of peeking out of the satchel on her back is this very tiny, like kitten-sized serpent. Those of you that are familiar with pretty much any lore at all would recognize one of these. This is an umber. They are kind of native to the more northern areas like Nordotero, and they're basically just a very specific breed of pseudo-dragon. Now, dragons themselves are, mythical. They don't exist, but this one in particular, pseudo dragons in particular, do. They're kind of thought of as false dragons, hence the name. They're not really dragons. They're just similar. And this one is just a small kitten-sized black dragon, pseudo dragon, that's just kind of poking out of her satchel here and there. Sige, would you like to describe yourself?
So Siege is a broad-shouldered, sort of fortified man. Appears to be in perhaps his mid-50s, old beyond his years. Very dour, very stern, not prone to smiling. That's basically it.
Okay. How about you, Amalia? Would you like to describe yourself?
I didn't even think about that.
Don't worry, that's why I kept mine kind of simple.
I don't even think I wrote out.
That's fine. We can come back. How about you, Rel?
Yeah, I'm gonna post a picture.
Sure.
I have it cropped, so I'm gonna kind of post this in what lies below.
That's fine.
Okay. So, exactly what you see. The only thing you cannot see is her tail, which I have that description actually written down here. If I can open this, here we go. Bio. Her tail's blue, scaled. It's pretty thin, like probably about the size of the chain on her overcoat there, and it flattens out at the tip into kind of like a spear with side points that branch off of the where the bases of the flat part to form kind of like a trident that also kind of look like spear tips. They're much smaller than the actual main middle tip.
Nice. I think Lou said he'd be right back.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm back. Apologies.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so you have the camp to yourself. I will get you a handout of the camp. I meant to have one ready, but I am the dumb, and I'm also the busy, so sometimes I fail. Let's see, that's floor 2. Well, I will have one for you momentarily. That's not floor. Aha! Aha! I found it! Aha! Meanwhile, what is the plan? What are you guys up to? What do you think you should do in the moment?
Are any of Siege's comrades alive?
Yes. Out of character for a moment, all of the ones that you listed are the ones that lived through. You did lose one. You did not list him. And I will have a name for you in a moment. I have it written down in my spreadsheet, but I would have to sort through like 100 names to find it.
Yeah.
So give me a minute. But you did lose one in the collapse. He was actually one of the first discovered. But everyone else lived. A couple people had some very minor injuries, just some scrapes and bruises. Owain hit his head pretty hard, but he's back in action already. It's you guys have been down here for a total of 23 days by today.
Right.
So it's been a while. And he's back he's back up to speed. Being kind of a little bit older, he took a minute, but he's good.
So, in that case, Siege will address the three, and basically dictate that he's going to retire to spend time with his men, and when he's needed, when they're ready to depart, they can go fetch him.
Okay.
You don't think you should prepare?
I'm prepared enough already.
I think we all are. I say we head out, get some sleep first, and head out. And we should all stop by the quartermaster and get those rations.
Rel kind of like rolls her eyes. And she's gonna go back and study the map of the second floor a little bit longer.
Okay. There's only a little bit. There's not very much at all. It basically just leads. It's one longer tunnel, and it's got a couple of sections marked where there were ambushes. In fact, I will draw it for you if you would like that. But it's kind of this long, winding tunnel. It's got a couple of sections marked where there were ambushes, and then it finally has, at the very end of it, this smaller section that kind of branches off, marked as the crossroads. And the crossroads has several ambush points on it. Pretty much like 80% of the little ambush points are from the crossroads.
Okay. And yeah, a small drawing, like a quick drawing, would really help.
Sure, I will
Which is what you did.
do a small drawing here.
Very crude.
Wow, okay.
Did your pen decide it didn't like you?
No, it's just broken.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like,
That's fine.
she's also gonna go over any other like relevant information. Make sure she's prepared.
Okay. Looking around, basically, this is pretty much the extent of what you get. There's not a whole lot else there. Amalia, what are you doing during this time?
Probably resting.
Okay.
Nothing too extravagant.
Gotcha. What have I done? Holy moly! Oh, that's not incorrect. That's very incorrect. Whoa.
How do I roll to DM?
You have to. It's /GM.
Oh.
Yeah, it's /GM. All right. So with you all kind of retiring and preparing, we will. If no one has anything specific that they'd like to do, we will go ahead and flash forward just a little bit.
Yeah, you said. I actually have a question. You said Rel knew Haruka. Like, how well has she ever talked to her before?
You don't know her personally because Haruka would look at you and go, "Ha!" But you know of her. You don't know her personally though. You just know her reputation.
Okay. Rel would actually, before retiring, try and find her.
Okay. I'll need you to roll me an investigation check, please.
Okay.
I sent you a question.
Okay. You'll have to give me a minute.
15.
15. Looking around, you don't seem to find her. She is just gone.
Can I ask, like Akira, Hyan, and Bryce if they know where she'd be?
You do, and none of them really. They don't keep tabs on her necessarily. She does have her own quarters within camp, that she had built and that she paid for and everything. So, she's probably in there, but they know that no one's allowed in, pretty much under any circumstances.
So, in the quarters, or like, is it like Is there a door I can knock on or something?
Yeah, basically the quarters are essentially just this wooden shack.
So she's got her own shack.
Yeah, she's got her own shack that's completely separated from the rest of the encampment.
All right, Rel would go there and knock on the door.
Okay. When you attempt to knock on the door, you see these two individuals. One of them is, let's see here. Yeah, you see two individuals. One of them is a halfling, kind of short with blonde hair. He looks almost dashing in a way, but he's wearing what is definitely some kind of strange, almost foreign leather armor. Standing next to him is a large humanoid individual. He looks mostly human, except for there's just little peaks here and there that let you know he's probably not. There's bits of Osimar in there somewhere. And that really comes through whenever you look down. You can see the tattoos on him. There's just tattoos covering his arms of various arcane symbols, and both of them are standing outside this shack that Haruka seems to kind of relegate herself to. As you approach, the halfling holds out a hand, just shakes his head.
Well, I kind of need to talk to her about the information that she wants.
Whenever my lady's in the shack, no one bothers her. That's the rule. If you catch her out and about, you're free to talk. But until then, I suggest you just run about your business.
Can you deliver her a note?
I can, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And Rel pulls out her journal and starts writing writes her a note. I will message you what it says.
Okay, sure. All right.
She would retire.
Okay. And we will fast forward just a little bit to...
No, you will not until you answer my question.
No.
Okay. Wait, what?
The answer is no.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
So, flash forward just a little bit. Those of you that are going to see, in Siege, you're just kind of spending the night with the men in camp, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Owain's there. There's a couple of others that have, they're under your whole company's basically under contract right now, and some of them are basically enforcers within the camp. The issues being presented, like number one, there is some mildly dangerous local fauna. You guys have ran into giant serpents, just like massive monitor lizards. And also there's been fights breaking out, people, causing trouble, stuff like that. There's also been the Stone Cursed, and so there's this really, really elaborate guard set up that take very tight shifts every single night, and they rotate. So some of your men are asleep, some of them are on guard duty, but a lot of them are kind of in this little portion of the camp. My internet's shit, so this now I remember why I never got this uploaded. It wouldn't upload to Roll20, but I'll fix that later. So but they're kind of in this little portion of the camp that's more relegated to just the general populace, and
Right.
people have just various areas set up. There's a quartermaster here, one of the major quartermasters. There's a couple of other people in here that are kind
You're
of
gesturing
important
to a map. I can't see it, by the way.
I'm not referring to a map.
Okay.
My descriptive skills have evaded me currently. Essentially, this is a large open cavern that is very natural in make, and this is where the collapse originally happened. So there's still a little bit of debris here and there, and in the center of this large cavern is essentially just what amounts to a massive bonfire where there's people are cooking what food they can. People are just gathering. There's a little bit of booze that's allowed within the camp because you guys did have some, and some of it did survive. But most of your men are kind of off to the side of the camp. They have their own little small fire going, and those of them that are there are mostly just sitting there shooting the shit for the most part. You can see Owain is there, and there's also Cuthbert, as he's never really very far away from Owain. He seems kind of like, I'm just gonna sit here.
Well, Wayne's in charge while I'm gone. Yeah,
that's what I thought. And Cuthbert seems to be kind of attached to the man, like, yeah, I'm not gonna leave. Other than that, there's just a handful of the others here, and they're all kind of just shooting the shit a little bit and chatting amongst each other over this small bonfire. They all have like jerky and dried fish and stuff like that. Here is the drawing, by the way.
Okay.
Ooh. Ugh.
And the crossroads, I'm assuming, is like the intersection.
Yeah, where the two kind of roads meet.
And the X's are the ambushes, right?
The X's are ambushes, yes. As you approach, Owain kind of waves you over. Sir, it's you look troubled.
I'm going to dive into the depths of hell. Of course I'm troubled.
Hell, you going? They're sending you down?
I'm the best fighter here, most likely. Would be ashamed to send anyone else.
All right, that's true. I like it. I mean, well, shit. I wonder if they'll let some of us come with you.
No. Too many people in those tunnels and get claustrophobic.
Yeah. He kind of gives this.
Those things come out of the walls, we're all dead.
That's true. That's kind of waves his hand, picks up this big piece of jerky and bites into it. Cuthbert and I were here, kind of just contemplating what the hell's going on with these things. You know, they attacked again the other night while you were out.
Listen, Owen. It's one thing that's more important than anything else, and that's discipline. You keep the men in line, ensure the rations are even, ensure the behavior is... If things go awry, it'll be the death of everyone here.
He immediately tightens up, gives you a small salute. Yes, sir.
Good.
Cuthbert kind of sits up a little straighter, and so there's like, I don't remember all of their names, but the rest of the men around the bonfire kind of sit up as well. They're all like, oh shit, yes, sir.
At that, Siege will give the equivalent of an at ease and kind of join them in their quiet revelry for the night.
Yeah, they're all, none of you, one thing that's been pretty consistent in your men is that not a single one of them has ever caused any trouble or gotten rowdy. None of them have partaken in really any booze outside of, just a cup here and there. And the Explorers Guild, which you guys are currently contracted under, has essentially kind of slowly started to rise the company up through the ranks, in its entirety. Everyone's kind of getting treated a little bit better. Not much, but it's showing.
Right. Sounds good.
Okay. And you spend the night with your men in quiet revelry. What are you doing?
I'm going to go have fun.
Okay.
With one of the other ones. Well, one of them, if any of them are available.
Sure. Go ahead and roll me, just roll me a general charisma check for this.
14.
Okay. I won't go.
You
I
don't
won't
have
say
to go into
exactly
detail.
what. Yeah, I won't say exactly what you is doing. Hold on. But you do succeed.
Okay.
Okay. And everything manages to be chill. It's okay. So, Amalia, are you doing anything tonight?
No.
Okay. Just wanted to double check.
Give me 1 second before we actually continue.
Yeah,
I want to finish.
we're gonna continue after this.
After what?
After laughter.
After that.
Yeah, let me finish this letter roll.
That's fine. I have the main map of the encampment uploaded. I knew I'd uploaded it somewhere. I uploaded it to Imgur, and I was going to use this Imgur link
I'm gonna
to...
take a bathroom break. I'll be back.
That's fine. We're going to get started on the actual fun stuff here in a moment.
Do you have the enhancement suite?
I do have it where you can set from URL.
Oh, fuck. It's so good.
Oh my god, I forgot I had this uploaded to Imgur. I was like, man, where is this? I know I uploaded this. I uploaded it to Imgur and then forgot to put it on the Roll20.
Yeah, the enhancement suite's literally a lifesaver.
It really is. Oh my god. Cool. So here is the encampment. Let me know if you can't see the image.
I can see it.
There you go. You guys are currently in the Ford camp.
What direction are we heading? That is the.
You are headed to what would technically be considered, I guess, southeast. There is a if you head
Oh,
southeast.
I see.
Yep, there is a 2-floor
Yeah.
2. Yeah.
Okay.
And if any of you want to go ahead and take a bathroom break, we're gonna just go after this. So probably the best spot to do so, because I'm about to do so as well.
I sent you the letter.
I'll be right back.
Just generally where almost everyone stays. There's a couple of people that stay in the Druids Grove, especially the people that represent the circles. Anyone that's kind of more in tune with nature as others. The Athenium is kind of the main base of operations. This is where the leaders stay. There is a huge fountain of water in the center that's drinkable, so they've kind of locked that down a little bit. They kind of control the water source. One of the water sources. There's another one further to the west called, everyone just calls it the lake. And this one is through this large series of extremely dangerous rooms that are filled with traps, and nobody has figured out how to disable the traps yet. So every time somebody visits the lake, which is full of fresh fish, there is a good chance that they might not come back. Other than that, you have the Crystal Cavern, which is this massive portion of this cave system here, and within it there are huge crystals growing. These crystals emit light, and they're also used for current router. So, and those of you that are attuned to the arcane would know that current routers are generally used to kind of amplify magical abilities. So,
question.
Sure.
Well, two questions, actually. First off, are there any children?
There are like 4 or 5. There's not very many. Most of the time, the Astorian Explorers Guild does not allow anyone under a certain age to join. However, some did sneak in, and there was one person who actually brought their whole family for some reason, and there's like an infant here. So he lived.
Okay, so there aren't many, so there wouldn't be like an orphanage or anything.
There's no orphanage or anything like that. There's a couple of kids that, when I say kids, they're like teenagers. They're like 14, 15, so they're not, super young. And then there's a singular family here. That's it.
And second, I don't know if she would read that letter before we leave or not, but if she would, it should probably be read.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm back. Sorry.
Yep. Okay, welcome back. Cool. So, the night passes without a hitch. Well, let's double check on that, actually. Yes, the night passes without a hitch. You all sleep soundly. There are no ambushes tonight, luckily. There's no exciting action. You wake in whatever might be the morning.
Exciting action for not
I mean,
maybe them.
Sure, whatever. But you wake after a while with what, could be almost considered the morning. There's no sense of time down here as there's no sunlight, so it's very difficult to keep track of time. So, but you eventually do wake and go about your business. We're going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit. Who is actually speaking with the quartermaster? I'm curious.
I would, I guess.
Would we'd have to buy stuff from him, right?
No, you
No.
are being granted 10 rations for free.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll get those. Other than that, I don't need it.
okay. Then yeah, I've already got those. So.
Okay, cool. So, yeah.
Oh,
you guys. Okay.
I'm assuming the starter rations that we get from like an explorer's kit or something, or dungeoneer's pack aren't like we don't get those 10 rations on top of those, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming
You'll get an additional 10 rations for a total of 20 rations to start the whole thing
okay.
off. Yep.
Okay.
For those of you that aren't sure how rations work, you can technically go on half rations, which is what most people have been doing at this point. If you do not eat for a total of 48 hours, you gain a point of exhaustion. However, well, I guess it's 24 hours if you're on half rations. Basically, you have to eat at least half of a ration per day, or you gain a point of exhaustion. So, 10 rations can technically last you 20 days. Just as a note.
How quickly is this going to become dungeon meshy? Eating anything we come across.
It's not going to be too bad. Who knows? It depends on how long you guys spend down here. I'm going to be, unlike some of my previous campaigns, I'm going to be trying to track time a little closer than I usually do. And while it's not going to be like Hunting Simulator 5000 or anything like that. Exploration's going to be a bit of a challenge here and there. So, that's why spells like Goodberry have been nerfed pretty hard.
Question.
Sure.
Do we have like a living quarters of our own?
No, everyone kind of just has a little sleeping bag in the camp. There are like more private areas people can go to if they need some privacy. But generally speaking, there's not, there's almost no privacy down here. This is camp life. Everyone just kind of hangs out in the open.
Okay, so is there any place that we can like store our stuff?
For storage purposes, I mean, not necessarily. There's nowhere to store anything currently. There is some storage, but that would be kind of a privilege of maybe some of the higher up ranks in one of the factions or something like that. So,
okay,
there's nowhere to store anything currently. You can leave your shit here. I can't guarantee it'll be there when you get back.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so you guys visit the quartermaster. The quartermaster, the main kind of guy that controls all the food in camp, is the quartermaster of the Historian Explorers Guild. He is an Inara. One of the few Inara within the camp. There's only like 3, I think. His name's Kashaw, and he hands you out 10 rations each. I'll just give you a handout. I've got a handout for like every single person, so haha. He hands you 10 rations each, wishes you good luck on your journey, and offers to see you down to the entrance to floor 2.
Oh, Rel would have stopped by the Athenium. Athenium, did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, the Athenium. Yeah.
Before.
It literally means the book house.
Oh, okay. Before going to the quartermaster, I didn't realize we were going to the quartermaster into.
Oh, okay.
That.
What were you doing in the Athenium?
Waiting, like I said in the letter.
Oh, there's no response.
Okay. Continue on.
Okay. So
I would wake the person up and tell him I had to leave.
Wait. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. They fine with that. It's all good. Okay. Anything else?
By you mean no response, I assume you mean they didn't show.
Yeah, they didn't show.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no response, and they did not show. So, all right, you now stand before the entrance to floor 2. Behind you is a massive arcane circle that once held some kind of luminous brilliance, however, has since faded. In this room, it's almost difficult to breathe as there are 2 absolutely gargantuan acid pools, and you see the stairs leading down into the depths.
At least you'll never run out of acid.
So far, that acid's come in handy. They've been using it for excavating.
Good thing I stopped the person in the one shot from nullifying it.
Kashaw kind of tips his head to you. Well, you'll be careful down there. It's not pretty from what I heard. So watch yourselves. Go slow. I'll be here if you need to retreat, if you need to come back. We're waiting. He just gives you a nod and he turns to go. All right.
Yep.
All right. Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over the map. You won't have any vision, I don't think. Should be completely black for everybody.
Yep, black so far.
Cool. And I am going to place a token on the board. And for some reason, I tried to make this a little bit better than it is. Unfortunately, I didn't. So you will see some stuff that I never really intended you to see on this map, but that's fine. That's not a big deal. I'm going to put this in all players' journals and edited and controlled by all players. Please do not move the token on the map. You should be able to see now.
Nope.
No?
No?
Yes, I can.
I can.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Very tiny,
Cool.
tiny.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. It's not terribly
Interesting
large
grid.
compared to this. See. Cool. So every hex is just over an hour of travel. For every hex that you cross, you will need to roll. I'm sorry, it's every 4 hexes that you cross. You need to roll a random encounter die. Random encounters aren't going to be a huge deal later on in the campaign, but early on they very much are. So keep that in mind. You can take rests here as you choose. We will be using a system developed by good old Matthew. What's his fucking name? Matt Koval. Koval, yeah. System developed by Matt Koval. He has this really cool random encounter system where there's a D12. Okay, you roll a D12. One person in the party rolls a D12 for every hour that you spend in a rest, unless it's a long rest, in which case you just roll 2d12. On an 11 or a 12, that's a random encounter, and 11 is a weaker one, and 12 is a harder one. So you have a moderate chance of a random encounter if you take a rest, but you can take rests during this travel. So it's going to be a little bit of a hex crawl. As you proceed down into the depths, the walls come alive. And I don't mean that literally, but there is a soft ringing. You take a few steps, and it continues. A few more steps, and it continues. And you can hear little droplets of water just... It's pretty obvious there is dank moisture in the area. But what you didn't expect is the smell. It's chemical in nature. It smells like... Well, it smells a lot like the room.
What my acid? Wait, hold on.
Uh-oh.
There you go. I couldn't hear you in chat for a second.
Did I DC?
Just
Slightly.
for a second. Yes.
Where?
Yep, UDC.
Oh, that was weird.
It
Stop
smells like.
just after acid.
Okay, so it smells a lot like the room that you just left. It smells like acid.
The second floor?
Yes. Down here, it smells very much like ash. So, you can proceed forward, which really is the only direction to go currently.
Except backwards.
You make it 1, 2, 3, 4. You make it a decent distance before there is an echo. Need somebody to roll me a d12, please.
Awesome. I'll do the first one.
Where's my creepy music?
A 7. Woohoo!
There we go. 7. There's an echo. And you look and you quickly realize that it was a rock, a large chunk of one of the walls that had fallen off. You managed to proceed safe. Further down, you reach, after several hours of travel, what can only be described as the crossroads. Now, you've been down here for the tune already of about 8 hours, and up to this point, you have seen dark stone walls that are just lined with this slime. It smells acidic down here, and it almost has this kind of queasy, well, it smells a little bit like rot. Some of you with a weaker constitution might get sick to your stomach. Those of you who are a little bit more hardy and tough kind of just shrug through it. But after 8 hours of travel, you finally hit the crossroads. What you see in front of you is a variance in the rock. From a dark black to a light gray, it spreads open into this large area with several different paths, potential paths, kind of fanning outwards. In the center, there are many large stalagmites just sprouting out of the ground. You can see from the top, there's also several stalactites, and then kind of towards the entrance to the crossroads, there is this large puddle of brown goo. Further back, way further back, you can see there is some sort of running water, but it's wrong. It's almost still. And as you enter into the crossroads, you hear a, no! Get them! Get them!
Where's the sound coming from?
Further into the crossroads. It's too far for you to see exactly where it is in this darkness. But you definitely hear all of a sudden the clash of what can only be two blades meeting.
Siege's gonna draw a sword and lead the party to continue forward.
Okay, I need a marching order here.
Siege in the front, I guess.
Okay.
Rel right behind her. Or him.
Okay.
Or side by side, Eve. Or, sorry, you.
Okay. So where's
sorry.
Rel?
Where's you?
I was going to be right behind him to make sure he doesn't go over traps. Just in case.
Yeah, then she'll be right beside you.
Okay, right beside you. And Amalia, are you in the back, or are you are we getting kind of the flying T here?
Yeah, I'll probably get in the back.
Okay, cool. That works. Let me go ahead. I'm going to place your tokens on this map, and we will switch you over here in a minute.
I don't want to die.
As a note, Sige down here, it's really dark. You have been provided, I forgot to tell you this, you have been provided with these small crystals that give off about the same light as a torch. You have 5 of them, so you could just add 5 dawn shards to your inventory if you want.
I also have the light cantrip too.
Yeah, and you have light as well. These are the same amount of light as a torch, and the good part about these is that they last 24 hours upon use, and then they're expended. So,
but they need to be held in the hand.
They do need to be held in the hand, similar to a torch, or you technically could hold one of these in your mouth. Like, that's totally a thing you could do. They're not very big, so
just don't swallow.
Yeah, they're about the size of like a golf ball. Let's see, I'll put Rel on the map. Oh god, Rel's so tiny.
You could still swallow a fucking golf ball. Just saying.
Yeah, I never said you couldn't.
Does anyone have problems seeing?
Yes,
No.
light would be appreciated.
Give me you're wielding a sword, right?
Sword and a shield. Sword and board.
Okay. I could put the light on your sword if you wish.
Works for me.
She like touches your sword. Hold on, let me actually check.
It's 40 and 20 of that is dim if I remember.
Yeah. She like reaches up and touches her necklace, and then swipes her hand across swipes her like middle finger and pointer finger and her thumb across the blade.
What color is the light?
It's like a reddish.
Okay, cool. This like kind of faint red light, lighting up about 20.
Just give him a red lightsaber.
Maybe.
It's apt.
As you take a step, you go ahead and roll me a perception check. You said you were looking for traps.
Can I
Let's see
ask
if
my
you
little
notice any.
friend for help?
I'm gonna say no in this instance because you're kind of well, actually, yeah, sure.
22.
Okay, 22. Looking, you do not see any traps immediately. What you all notice, though, is on the far side of these crossroads, is a small, hunking down, like kind of almost hunchbacked, draconic-looking creature. It almost looks a little bit like your pseudo dragon there, but is clearly not. Those of you familiar with kind of geography in general, anyone that's been well educated in the affairs of other countries knows that this is a kobold. They're fairly rare here in Astoria and Nordotero, but they are very common over in Wild's Peak and Mirvanine. This kobold seems to be fighting the air. There, you don't see anything, but all of a sudden he takes a step back, and then this very clear, very definite slash appears straight across his stomach, and he kind of falls to the ground, dead. There's other kobolds in the back. You can barely make them out, but they also appear to be fighting nothing.
Oh, that doesn't look good.
Something's invisible. Alright, keep a tight formation. We'll go forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are you moving forward?
So, we're not in turn order or anything right now, are we?
No, you are not.
Alright. Is this the divide of the crossroads?
This is the crossroads, yes.
I guess we'll go right towards the kobolds and their affair.
Okay. You see one of the kobolds that had been standing next to the one that had just fallen, scores some kind of hit on something, and all of a sudden there's this small flash of light that's almost reflected from your sword. As something falls, you can't quite tell what, but you see another shimmer behind the kobold, and he almost instinctually turns around and blocks. As he turns, he sees you. And says, help us, please.
Can I see any sort of
What the hell are you fighting?
You make me a perception check, Sige. Amalia, I'm gonna need you to make me one too.
Okay.
old eyes?
Hmm.
Older
Nice.
eyes.
Looking around, you can't tell what they're fighting. The kobold turns and blocks what's obviously some kind of downwards cut with his dagger, and then gets up underneath the legs of something and trips it to the ground and just starts stabbing. And you actually don't see any blood. Is the curious thing. There's no blood, but when he draws back, reflected in the light, his dagger is unquestionably wet.
What is the earth like? Is it like dusty or dirty?
The ground in here is a pretty thick layer of dust and grime. It's a little slippery, not enough to make it dangerous terrain or difficult terrain, but enough that you should probably be mindful of it. It's kind of typical cave fare.
Can
more or less.
Siege run up to this kobold currently engaged in combat? Not the one that just felled an opponent, but sort of the nearest one after.
Yeah.
and try and kick up a cloud of dust, like as he skids to a halt, just like kick the floor
Sure.
and spit some
Yeah,
dust
we'll
into the
do
air.
we'll do this one.
Oh, sorry. Rel's gonna
What's Rel
follow and
Okay.
Why
ready
don't I have
shocking
any like on
grasp.
my token?
Can you let people finish talking?
Sorry.
It's like the 5th time. Stop.
Rel's gonna follow and ready shocking grasp to
Okay.
attack anything that might show up.
Okay, cool. I need you all to go ahead and roll me initiative.
Where is my? Why did I put it over there?
And Yin rolls his own initiative.
I don't think Ian can enter battle just yet.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yin can't be a combatant yet, so we'll just. Yeah, you're right. You right. Okay. Let me roll some initiative for
Sorry.
these guys here. You're fine.
I thought you said some. This was a trap.
Oh, I always forget one major thing. I knew I forgot to give you guys the macros that I usually have. That's fine.
That you forgot to give a sight on our tokens.
I gave you that on your token.
Yeah. All the light was coming off of him until I said something about it.
I don't know why. Rolling a ton of initiative. Hold on. There we go. Okay, cool. So as you run down, we're gonna go ahead and just pretend like it's Siege's turn right here. Okay, as you run up to this kobold and kind of kick this huge cloud of dust up, you reveal a humanoid figure, almost invisible, but not quite. Now that it's in front of you, you definitely can see it. It's almost it almost blends into the background, kind of like a camouflage or a translucence. As this happens, it throws one arm up, this humanoid entity. You can see this long sword in its hand, thin as a sheet of glass. As it throws its hand up, it tries to make a stab. However, it just goes wide on this kobold. And then we're going to go ahead and enter proper initiative order. Rel, as you run up behind Siege, you have the shocking grasp in your hand. You're holding it tight, trying to wait for something. What was the trigger on that? You're muted.
Fucking rip me. Okay. Anything that isn't a kobold to appear.
Okay. I need you to make me a perception check.
Okay. Not very good at these. 15.
15. I'm gonna roll this manually because I can use my metal dice. Hey, that's a natural 1. First NPC roll of the campaign, natural 1. Yes, please. All right. You're kind of looking around, being careful for anything else. Siege seems to have whatever this thing in front of you is handled, and you turn and you see one of the stalagmites move, and then it sprouts 2 arms and 2 legs, and just this humanoid stone figure walks straight out of the stalagmite. You've seen these before. All of you have seen one of these before. These are the stone hollow. These are the constructs that have been assaulting the encampment. As it walks towards you, you actually get a shocking grasp off on it. It is not metal, so you do not have advantage.
Woo. Here we go. Oh wait, I can just roll this from here, can't I? Yes. That's an 11.
11. You try to get the shocking grasp. However, the stone nature of this thing seems to almost absorb the electricity, and unfortunately, you miss.
Rip.
As this thing steps forward, it's sprouted 2 large warhammers made of just pure stone. It's almost one continuous machine of sorts of stone and dust, and it's going to strike down at you with one of its maces. Maces. It rolls an 11. So what's your AC? I don't think that hits. Okay, cool. As it swings down, it goes wide. You manage to dodge out of the way just in time, only to react. It's now your turn.
Alright, well, I'm gonna shocking grasp it again.
Sure.
22.
22 does hit. You manage to just dig into the kind of stone core of this thing. Go ahead and roll damage. Oof. 2 points 2 points of damage. However, it seems as if again you're not getting in there as well as you would have liked. So, if I recall, when you hit with shocking grasp, it cannot take reactions. Correct?
Yep.
Okay, double checked. Cool.
So with that, I'm going to move back here.
Perfect. Siege, with that, you turn real quick, and you do see this this stone hollow that has appeared from behind you.
All right.
This translucent humanoid in front of you that was fighting the kobold. Okay, yeah. It turns, recognizes kind of the larger threat. Also seems to realize it's not going to do so well. It's going to go ahead and try to make an attack against you, Siege.
All right.
Let's see, and you do. All right, so it gets a glass longsword. Unfortunately, swings wide. Your shield comes up, and it can't get up under your guard. It gets to make a pseudopod attack. Does 13 hit AC?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. Whenever it swings, you watch part of its body just contort into this kind of amorphous blob and shoot out at you before retracting. It doesn't manage to hit. It kind of goes wide. Not the best aim, but it kind of gives away its nature. This is an ooze. Okay. The rest of you, everybody in the room gets to roll a perception check right now.
All right.
19. 20. Crit.
Jesus.
I went from a 1 to a 20.
If you rolled over a 10, you see this happen. As you kind of look around the room, you realize the nature. You kind of realize the danger that you might currently be in. Multiple of these stone hollow begin walking out of the stalagmites in the center of the room. And one of them looks very different from any of the others that you've seen up to this point. As it kind of walks out, you can't get a great view on it, but those of you that roll high, it only makes sense really because you two have the best angle on it. You see that this one isn't wielding anything, and that it's actually dripping this kind of gray matter just off of it, almost like it's melting per se, but it never seems to lose any mass. It takes a few steps out of the stalagmite, looks around. We're gonna give it a perception check. That's fucking terrible. All right. Yeah, it looks around, and it is going to go ahead and probably charge you guys. Not see this kobold up here. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Barely gets to you. Let me go ahead and pull its sheet up. As it gets closer to you now, you see the strange kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Peculiarities of this particular stone hollow. Its movements are more human than anything you've seen up to this point. The stone hollow that have normally attacked are very rigid, very structural. They make all the same movements, and everything they do is very almost controlled, almost limited in nature. This one doesn't have that. It's very much nimble, and as it runs towards you faster than most stone hollow, it's going to go ahead and make a claw attack against you. So, and it did not get advantage. So that's an 11 versus AC,
Nope.
which I think is a miss. Okay, cool. So as it swipes at you, you can smell this putrid essence coming off of it, and its claw goes wide and just slings this gray matter all over the ground. Wherever the gray matter touches, it starts to kind of coagulate and start to form little balls of rock.
Okay.
Another stone hollow juts out of the stalagmite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, it can just barely get there. And immediately just starts charging one of these poor kobolds. What ho, in our view? Mace attack. 14. Oh yeah, this kobold takes it to the face. You hear it. Kobold's turn. Going to swipe. It's going to fail. You.
Fuck. Okay. Would I be intelligent and would it affect my daggers if I hit it?
Make a Make an Arcana check.
Arcana?
Yeah.
9.
Yeah, you're not sure. You've been told so far about some of the oozes that can erode metal, and this definitely almost seems like an ooze. It has some ooze-like properties, so you're not positive. It could be dangerous, though.
Okay. Thank God I bought 2 daggers. I attack it with a dagger.
Okay, roll me an attack.
Oh my shit.
Natural 1. Dagger sinks into it, and actually part of the stone, this stone entity kind of coalesces around the dagger and hardens for a moment, and you have to almost pull your dagger free. It doesn't seem to affect your dagger, however, not
and
negatively.
I take the dodge action. No, can I do a dodge?
No, you can't do
Cunning
dodge.
action?
You can dash, or disengage,
Or hide.
or hide. Yeah. Dodge is monk.
I'm gonna do a disengage.
Okay.
And run up here.
All right, cool. That's your bonus action. So, is that the end of your turn?
Yep.
Okay, Kobold. Going to swing, and he's going to hit. He's going to hit hard, actually. And cool. Amalia.
This all looks like a trap.
Huh.
I assume this along here is like a ledge of some sort.
Yeah, it's a ledge. It's about 10 feet tall. The ceilings in this room itself are fairly tall, actually. Surprisingly so. They're about 40 feet up.
Okay. I'm gonna maybe move back a little bit.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna cast Eldritch Blast on the
One beam.
one in front of me.
Okay, sure. Roll me an attack. Nice, that hits.
Damn it.
3 points of damage. Not bad, not bad, not bad at all. As you, what does your Eldritch Blast look like? Describe that one to me.
Like this green ball of energy.
Okay. What color is it?
Green?
Green. Cool. Just this green ball of energy slams into this entity, disrupting it significantly, and it doesn't seem to like you very much after that. Is that the end of your turn?
Yeah.
Cool. 2 kobolds. That's a natural 1. That is a 20. Wow. Okay. This kobold is going to swipe, and he will hit, and he will hit pretty hard. Well, if I could... Okay. There we go. Much easier now. And then this kobold is not going to do much of anything. He's going to be completely fucking useless. Okay. From out of this brown ooze next to you, you see something kind of start tracking it across the ground.
Out of what?
Out of this brown ooze next to y'all, anybody that looks over there, you see something start tracking this brown ooze across the ground. It's actually making footprints in the ground, very humanoid in nature. And it comes straight for you. I'm gonna hate your name by the end of this.
Yep.
Okay. It's gonna go ahead and it's going to make a longsword attack against you. 16 versus AC?
Yep.
Okay,
Just
you'll
hit.
take 7 points of slashing damage.
Goody.
Yep. And then it is going to go ahead and it is going to make a pseudopod attack. Oof. You are going to take another 8 points of slashing damage. This thing's nasty.
Wait, what is attacking at? Like, is there anything near?
There is something nearer. You can just barely make out this shimmer in the air.
I don't look good. Not at all.
As the blade slashes across you, it manages to just barely hook on with its pseudopod. And now that you can kind of see it, now
Is
that
it a magical grapple?
it is not magical in any nature.
Okay.
It's not a grapple either. And now that it's kind of like hooked onto you a little bit, you can just barely make it out in the light. Siege.
All right, so Siege looks at one of his party members run off to the south, and he's sort of flanked at all sides.
I have your back.
All right, Siege will recant something in a story and cast Bless on himself and his two closest allies.
Okay, cool. And you are all blessed. If I can get you over here, there you go. I'm gonna put red. I feel like red's a good color for Siege.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm gonna put.
it's like a little red.
Cool. All right.
I'm really glad I guessed that with the light.
Sith, that's for sure.
Definitely.
It's Rel's favorite color too. So.
All right. So you are all now blessed. Do you have a bonus action or anything else?
I don't know if I can do anything with my bonus action.
You do, but
What I will do is, no, I'm not gonna risk losing concentration. All right. Yeah, he hangs tight.
okay, cool. Let's see here. One of the stone hollow. Which one? This one. Okay. You see the stone hollow that is just sprouted from the stalactite rel or stalagmite. Yeah, mite. It charges forward. It's going to go ahead and try to attack you.
Okay.
Just one hit with its mace. Another 5. So no, it misses. Rel.
See until night, including. So I have a question. Do I have to cast? Can I cast shield after I know whether the attack would hit or miss?
You can cast shield whether you know the attack would hit or miss. Yeah.
Okay.
Generally speaking, the dungeon master will say hit or miss, and you can cast shield then. You don't generally get to know what the number rolled was, but if
Yeah.
I have something that's public rolling and you see the roll, I'm not gonna ding you for it or anything. I'm not gonna be like, oh, metagaming.
Then
Although
yeah.
I will say I'm going to private roll a lot more in this campaign than I have in my other ones. Just be warned.
No, that's fine. And we are using flanking bonuses, right?
We are using flanking. Yes, we are.
And they have to be on opposite sides.
You have to be on opposite sides. Only one person benefits from flanking.
Okay.
So, for instance, I will just give you a quick example. This thing was engaged with you. If you flank over to this side, it's still technically engaged with you. Kind of just follows you more or less. And it would have its back to Siege. Whoever it has its direct back to benefits from the flanking. That's it. That's the
okay,
only person.
but so this thing is technically flanking Siege right now. Is what you're saying?
Technically speaking, yes.
Okay.
Although it's engaged with you, but
Yeah, but it could turn, is what I'm saying.
mm-hmm.
Rel's gonna turn to Siege as she starts to move away. You should take a step forward, and I'm gonna move back here.
Okay.
And shocking grasp it.
Okay, sure. Go ahead and roll me an attack.
Where is it? There's.
What direction does she mean by forward? Given he's a token?
I don't know.
He's not really facing any.
Oh,
direction.
sorry. So she would point up towards the kobold.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. 14 unfortunately does not hit.
That's 18. I have advantage, right? Yes.
No, because I just explained, it's turned and followed you because it was engaged with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It kind of
Alrighty.
it's engaged with you, so I'm not gonna say
It's a 14, but I still get a 1d4 because of bless, so it's a 16.
you do. That's just barely a hit. 16 AC. Go ahead and roll that. Oof, 7 lightning damage. Nice. It seems to be pretty fucking hurt after that. This thing is bloodied.
Does the lightning damage actually look like it's doing, like it's?
Seems effective.
Okay, cool.
It seems like it's doing exactly what you want it to do.
Okay. And she's gonna move up here.
Oh, wow. Okay. I need an Owen Wilson just sitting next to me anytime I realize something crazy. Just wow.
No,
Wow.
it's a trap.
It's a
And
trap.
she's-
Wow.
Yeah, she's gonna move right up here. And
Okay,
that'll
cool,
be my
cool.
turn.
Yep. It is now this Ooze Folk's turn. It's at least semi-intelligent. It realizes that it's fucked. It's gonna take a swipe at this kobold. I'm just gonna roll manually. I don't have to open a sheet every time. That's a 2. I don't think that hits. No, the kobold has 12 AC. So it takes a swipe at this kobold. Then it's going to do pseudopod attack. That's an 11. Blah, blah, blah. Yep, that hits. And I guess I'm gonna have to open its AC because I don't fucking ooze. I don't remember its damage. Cool. We'll just roll this, and that did hit. So it's 8 points of damage to the kobold in front of you. You all watch as its pseudopod engulfs the kobold's head and rips backwards, and the kobold falls over headless. It is then going to begin sprinting. 5, 10, 15, 20. So, Sige, if you want to, you can take an attack of opportunity.
Definitely taking an attack of opportunity.
Sure. That hits. 6 points of slashing damage. Nice. It as it runs away, you catch it just right. Was that a 19, by the way? Let's see.
Yes.
That was a 19. So fun fact about ooze folk, critical hits happen to them on 19s.
Okay.
They have a trait called fragile bone, and basically they just break apart if you hit a 19 or 20. So that is actually 12 points of damage. And as you turn around, you hear something snap within it. It's almost like snapping like a vial of glass, and it breaks down, falls into the dust, and immediately begins to kind of almost dissipate like water.
All right.
Stone curse. Okay. It's gonna go. Let's see. Yeah, it's gonna go straight for you, Amalia. So 5, 10, 15, 20. It's gonna go ahead and try to make an attack against you with its claws. Let's see. That is a 13 versus AC.
14, so no.
Just barely miss. Okay, cool. As it slings its claws towards you, more of this kind of gray matter oozes off of it. You can now see its face like melts and then reshapes and melts and reshapes. Roll me a history check.
I don't want to know what it is.
Well, you don't know necessarily what it is, but you do start to feel like this thing's a little familiar. Wait a minute, you've seen that face before.
What?
You've seen this person's face before. This looks an awfully lot like somebody that was in camp with y'all.
Oh, that's nice.
Lovely.
It is now this one's turn. It's going to go ahead and it's going to beat the living shit out of this poor kobold. This thing is flanked and dead. I guarantee it. Stone Hollow. Let's see. No. Yes. Duh. Kobolds don't have much AC. It's fucking dead. Okay, cool. It's this kobold's turn, and it is going to go ahead and roll from here. That's a hit. That thing's dead.
What is
You.
going on in the darkness?
Off in the darkness, you hear another one of those loud snaps and one of the kobolds goes, "Yes!" Okay, you.
Aw.
Would I know this is an ooze?
Oh yeah, at this point, their nature's kind of been revealed. They're very obviously oozes.
I lean forward. You really shouldn't hit kin, darling. And
Okay.
I stab a dagger in its face.
Sure, go ahead and roll me an attack, please. Remember, you crit on a 19 or 20. However, that is an 11, and that actually still hits.
Okay.
They don't have very much AC.
And then I do disengage.
Okay.
And I'm going to drag it as far as I can. Up.
Okay. You just sprint. Both of you just watch her just sprint by you. Okay. And disengage. Yeah, that would work. You don't draw any attacks of opportunity for the rest of your turn. Okay. All right. Is that the end of your turn?
Yep.
Cool. So now this kobold up here, he doesn't really have much else to do, so he's going to take his sling and he's just going to start booping over here. I don't remember. Little kobold. Come on. Roll 20 is so slow sometimes. That's a 20. That's 6 points of damage. Is that a 19? No, it's not a 19. That's a 6. Okay. Still a lot of damage to this thing. And Amalia.
Sige, decided to run up to me, I'm gonna cast Hex on it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Strength.
Okay. Disadvantage on strength checks for it. Actually, a really good choice.
Then I'm gonna stab it with my dagger.
Sure. Go for it. 15 hits. If only you had advantage. 7 points of damage is a chunk then, and go ahead and roll your d6 for Hex. Is this thing immune to necrotic? It's not. Wow. Okay, cool. And another 3 points. This thing's starting to look really rough. It's starting to dissolve in front of your eyes. There's just little bits of it that are falling off. One of its hands just completely falls off and starts to just shape into a stone on the ground.
Oh,
As you hex, you reach out and mutter some arcane mumbo jumbo under your breath, and this kind of wreath of plumes of feathers starts circling its head. Gonna try to move it all?
yeah, I'm gonna move to this side of it.
Perfect. Okay. And that'll end your turn. It is now this guy's turn. He's going to run up. He's going to try to take a swipe at you, Sige. One of these, you now see this kind of, one of these other almost invisible oozes begin to make its way towards you. It's going to use... it's going to use its glass longsword. 18, I think that hits, actually. Does it?
That is armor class, yes.
Okay, cool. That just barely hits. You'll take 3 points of damage from this longsword as it slices across you. Just barely manages to get up under your guard just because it's so hard to see. And then when that happens, as soon as you take the damage, its hand expands into this big bubble and it tries to hit again. However, you're able to block it. And now it's your turn.
All right, I'm going to... what looks more damaged? The guy to my left, like the stone guy or the ooze?
The stone guy is currently falling apart into bits and pieces of dust, and the ooze in front of you looks... I mean, you're not really an expert on oozes, but he looks about as healthy as an ooze can be.
All right, I'll attack the ooze.
Sure. Also, roll me a concentration check, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah. What is that? Just
Constitution saving throw.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
Constitution save. Cool. Yeah, you succeed.
Okay. So does a 12 hit?
12 does. Yep.
All right, then I'm also going to use Divine Smite on this thing,
Oh, fuck yes. Okay.
burning through a spell.
Hell yeah. Okay. What? 14 points of damage. Yeah. You, actually, you can describe if you want. I know you like it.
So does it kill it?
Oh, yeah, it kills it. It kills it. It's dead.
So you can see Siege have the sword overhead, and just as it's about to come down, it just flashes with the, a little bit of extra plume of strength as it comes down and just sort of hits the ooze with a little bit of an...
Nice. You hear this, just the same similar snap, and all of a sudden it just crumples in on itself, falls to the ground, and dissipates into water. Or into something that looks like water. Alright. It is now the Stone Hollow's turn. He sees the ooze fall. Is this thing smart enough to rationalize? No, it's not.
It's just an attacking construct.
Yeah, I thought this one had higher int than it does, and then I looked. It does not. It has the lowest int you can go. Okay. It's gonna just keep hitting. Rel, gonna make an attack against you. Another 5. I will fucking screenshot this. You are cursed or blessed, I guess, with enemies swinging 5s against you. Rel, it's your turn. That's 3 in a row.
Rel's gonna like shoot electricity over her fingertips again and skirt around him and shotgun grasp. I'm gonna like reach for his
And
face.
I will say this is flanking at this point.
Okay. So yeah, she's gonna reach up for his face.
Sure.
Oh, that's not what I wanted.
Reach up
That's
for
what
its
I wanted,
face and
24.
cast Whispering. Sure. 24 definitely hits. Roll damage. Oh, 2 damage. He's looking really rough. He's still standing, however, bits and pieces of him are falling off as you grab his face and just... however, he seems, he's stoned, doesn't conduct You don't get the best hit off that you could have, and he is still standing.
God damn it. It's our turn.
Okay, cool. I like this little shocking grasp melee sorcerer you got going. That's fun. All right. It is now the person's turn, and as it swings at you again, Amalia, it says, "Come with me." One big swing. Oh my god. Fucking lol. Okay.
What do you mean,
Hold on.
lol?
Oh my god, it's a fucking crit. Oh god.
Uh-oh.
What?
Oh
no.
god.
Oh.
I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw.
I am so glad.
Okay. You succeed on that. However, you still take 17 points of damage.
What kind of
I
damage?
think that knocks you unconscious.
It doesn't happen to be like necrotic, does it?
Technically half of this is necrotic. Hold on, let me double read this again.
Oh my god.
Part of this is necrotic, yeah. The second half, the 8. So you take I'm sorry. You take 11 plus 4. That is 15 points of damage.
Wait, why is the 4 necrotic?
It is partially necrotic damage. There is 3 variants of these. One of them deals acid, one of them deals necrotic, and one of them deals radiant. This one deals necrotic damage.
Oh,
They all also have their own immunities and vulnerabilities, but they're all the same otherwise.
that saved my life.
Okay.
Isn't
What do you-
doesn't
what do
he
you-
have to do a second concentration check for the spell? Pretty sure Hex
Who?
is concentration.
Oh, Hex is concentration. Make me a concentration check. DC 10.
Oh, it totally is.
You succeed. Advantage on opportunity. Okay. As this happens, it takes a step back. You're free to make an attack of opportunity if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
17 hits. 7 points of damage. As your dagger stabs into it. Oh, okay. Go ahead and roll Hex as well, please. Okay. It's still standing. I will tell you that. As your dagger stabs into it, it's going to go ahead and use its trait that allows it to make another attack against you.
God damn, I knew it was a trap.
It's always a trap.
If you had failed that con save, you'd be actually dead.
12 versus AC does not hit. So. Okay. It is still standing, and it's looking particularly rough.
Okay.
See, it's this guy's turn. He's going to begin heading down.
That dagger
Actually,
just
no,
went
there's kobolds up
crazy.
here. There's a kobold up here. What the fuck?
Yep, there's a kobold up there.
It's gonna beat the kobold in the. No, it's not.
There's 2 kobolds up there.
There's another kobold here. He's gonna use a sling. What?
Did you just crit that too?
No, I didn't.
Still a 20 something, I think.
Stop looking at my screen. You. Woof.
I can't really see. I have very blurry eyes. I'm going to take the disengage bonus action and bolt past them. I think that's right.
Okay.
I'm going to take out my my light crossbow and fire a crossbow bolt at
Okay.
that one.
Sure. Roll an attack.
16 plus whatever.
16.
Do I have to roll?
Barely
it?
misses.
You're still blessed.
I'm
as well.
blessed.
Oh yeah, you're
D4?
blessed. Roll a d4.
What?
That's all you needed. It's a AC of 17.
4.
4. Okay. Cool.
And I get sneak attack.
Mm-hmm. No, you don't. But you don't need it because this thing only has 2 health left. So.
Okay.
As you plant a crossbow bolt directly between its eyes, you all see a squirt of blood. As it and then dissolves into a paste on the ground, and then turns into just a large stone mound.
That's this thing in the between us, or
No, it's in the far back.
oh, is it?
Right.
You might not have been able to see it. It was pretty far away.
Yeah, probably not.
Right.
Yeah. It was this weird person thing. Okay, you, that's your turn?
Yep.
It's this kobold's turn. He's gonna try to not die. They're pretty bad at that. Hey, it hit him. Amalia.
I'm gonna use my bonus action. Text the other stone guy between
Okay.
them, and yeah, I'm not even gonna try to get closer. I'm just gonna Eldritch Blast it.
Okay. That does not hit, unfortunately.
Okay. I'm just gonna end my turn there.
Okay, that works. And Siege.
All right, I'm gonna longsword this guy in between.
Go ahead.
16. Is that it?
16 just barely hits. 16 AC.
All right. Roll damage. 9.
9 points of damage, and this also kills it.
All right. I'd say it pushes it through the middle. Just kind of turns it, breaks up the rock or whatever it's made of.
Falls over onto the ground and just turns into dust over the course of seconds.
Rel looks down. She started like she still had her hand on the head. Ah.
Rel, it's now your turn.
Careful.
It's dark.
Fair. She's gonna go over here because she heard. I think she heard noises, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, there have been noises up top.
Or was I? I was right here. Okay, so 30. How far away is that? Ooh, that's just in range. Okay. I'm going to.
Yeah, that's really weird, actually. Looking at the stone thing.
Nah, I'm not gonna burn a spell slot for that.
What's the
I am
sitch?
Going to shoot it with my. I'm gonna take out my light crossbow and shoot the ooze.
Wow, you actually have a light crossbow. Nice. Okay, go for it.
Yep. 16.
16 hits. Not very hard to hit.
9.
9 points of piercing damage. I will give you another attack on this thing, but you have to skip your next turn. It is on one knee. Okay. Okay. 9 points of piercing damage. It drops to one knee, or it seems to still be standing. Man. All right. Is that the end of your turn?
Yep.
Cool. The Stone Hollow is going to mace attack the kobold in the face, and it does hit the kobold in the face and kills the kobold. You hear a loud wet. This kobold is going to try and fucking live 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. It's going to get right here. Siege, you see a kobold just sprinting across this dust and slime that's across the caverns, just going, oh, I don't want to deliver it. Okay, you.
I'm going to move here. See that
Okay.
one, and I'm going to level my crossbow again and shoot.
Which one?
The only thing I can. This one. Slime.
Okay, cool. That's you don't have to roll damage. It's dead. It has 1 HP.
Okay.
It had 10 health when you hit it with a 9. I was like, no. All right.
And then. Would this be difficult terrain to get into that?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult terrain. In fact, I'm going to need a acrobatics or an athletics check to get inside of that circle.
Okay. Acrobatics or athletics?
Your choice.
No.
You fall and scrape your knee.
Ouch.
It's not ideal, but you're going to take a point of damage in the process.
Oh, I'm 1 HP. Thank you.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, okay.
All
yeah,
right.
Just, I dashed in there. Yep, I'm good.
Amalia, it's your turn.
I don't wanna. He hit me once.
You don't see anything in range for you to hit.
It,
You know that there's noises coming from the top, though.
that ooze hit me once and put me to 2 HP. How shit-faced scared do you think I am?
Stay behind the tank.
Kind
I
of
think
hard
tanks
when
at this
the
point.
tank is disengaged over there whenever there's enemies over there.
I was technically behind the tank. I was just on the wrong side of the enemy. Tank.
Technically. Hey, you all failed your perception checks. I'm sorry. Well, not all of you, but
Excuse
most
me.
of you.
And oh, I do see that. Could I hit it?
I'm gonna give it 3/4 cover, so it's got +5 to its AC. I'm gonna say you can take a shot through the stalagmites if you want to try. It's pretty hard to hit at that point.
Yeah. I'll just use healing hands on myself.
Okay. You restore your level worth of hit points, I think, right?
Yes.
So that's 2.
That's cute.
Hey, it's better than nothing. You have doubled your current HP pool.
Yeah, I don't see that sounds good in retrospect.
All right. Sige, it's now your turn.
All right. I realized I forgot to move after I attacked that guy.
Yeah. Do you wanna move?
Yeah.
Fine.
Because Siege wouldn't have just stood still. I think.
I didn't think so either. I was like, all right, I guess you're not gonna move. That's fine.
3/4 of the party are assaulting the most dangerous foe with very little HP.
Yep.
It's half the party. I haven't been hit.
True.
Don't say that.
All right, so I'll move here, and then
I
it's like,
wouldn't move there because you're gonna have to make an acrobatics or athletics check.
Well,
And difficult trait.
yeah, I would
Oh.
say give me an acrobatics or an athletics check to get inside there.
let me addendum.
Sure.
That's
I
how
think it was
got
over
one.
here.
Give or
Mhm.
take.
Like that.
Sure.
Okay, fuck. Sorry, I have push to talk, so it's hard to like talk and do this.
Oh, you're fine.
Siege will just roll up on this homie and
Okay, yeah. Seems to be the last enemy in the vicinity that you see, anyways. 23 hits. Definitely. 7 points of slashing damage.
crashing into him.
It takes the hit with one of its hammers, raises up one of its hammers like it's about to smash down on you. Rel.
Yep. We are going to. I don't think I can get to it. Hold on.
I don't
Oh,
think
shit.
so either.
Nope. I cannot. I can get right here though. And I am going to, on the way there, putting the weapon away is a bonus action, right?
It's an object interaction. Yeah.
Okay, so then she's gonna put her crossbow away, and as she's doing that, sort of start shooting electricity up her left hand and shocking grasp it.
Sure. Roll me an attack.
Oof.
Oh, you couldn't get to the flanking position. I see what you
Nope.
were trying to do.
Yup.
Yep. Nope. All right. I'm sticking fast to those flanking rules. All
That's
right.
fine.
7
What
misses,
about-
unfortunately.
What about bless?
Oh yeah, bless. I don't think it hit any with
Yeah,
bless.
it wouldn't. No, it's got 16 AC.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't even hit with bless. Sorry. It comes down with its hammer, kind of just ignoring you, Rel. See if it hits you. Nope. 10. Comes down with its hammer. See, it doesn't hit you.
Too slow.
The couple of you hear just screeching. Actually, he's gonna. Huh?
Is it getting attacked?
No, it's just terrified. 5, 10, 15. It's terrified, but it displays some measure of courage as it steps forward, and it's going to go ahead and make a sling attack against this thing.
Rel cheers him on.
That's a hit, but it doesn't kill it. Fuck. You see this rock just take out a huge chunk of the side of this thing's face, and it kind of spins around for a moment, and then turns back to you almost robotically, and stares at you, Sieg. But now it's just missing half its face. You.
Okay, I'm moving here, and I'm sticking my crossbow through the stalagmites.
Okay.
And shooting.
Sure.
21.
21 hits.
7. And sneak attack.
And you can, yeah. All right. 8 points of damage. And how do you want to do this?
Just
Boom.
shoot it in the head. Yeah. Boom.
Shoot it. Aim straight for the head. This crossbow bolt goes. Aims perfectly, and the part that the stone had just broke off from that sling actually creates this kind of almost perfect storm of events, and you literally just explode the head of this thing with a crossbow bolt. Combat is over, my friends.
Can I try and coax over there? Is there only one kobold left?
There's only one kobold left.
What kind of condition is it in?
He looks okay. He's kind of beat up a little bit, but he's not like just terrible. And he kind of watches it fall, and he just throws his sling down, stomps on it, and goes, "Yeah!"
Sige will hail it with his hand, puts his sword in his sheath. Says, "Kobold, your people aren't known for their heroism, but you did well." He withdraws a little gold coin. He says, "Come, I'll reward you."
He picks up his sling. He goes, "Yes, reward, yes." Kind of steps forward a few steps and takes a look at you and keeps walking forward. Kind of waves off the gold. No, gold, no gold, no gold. Looks at this. He looks at the fallen stone man, which is rapidly turning into dust, and he just picks up a nearby rock and just starts pummeling it. And he goes, "This fucker!"
While he's distracted doing that, can I make an athletics check to try and grapple him?
Sure, go ahead and roll me athletics, please.
Seeing this, can I assist?
I'm gonna say no, just because assist isn't a reaction.
Okay.
Yeah, this was never communicated, so where's the kobold? There he is. And that is, he's gonna roll dex against it. He rolls a 7, so he is grappled.
Can I use my hempen rope to kind of like tie his arms and
get
him in like a, what's it called? Hog tie kind of thing.
Yeah, you kind of tie him up really quickly. Just a loose tie. Expert might be able to slip out of it, but this guy, he goes, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well,
you know these caves.
I know these caves, yes.
Therefore, you have a use for you.
Oh, I see.
You know,
I see.
We saved his life. You could have just asked.
Yeah, you could have just asked.
I don't ask favors of lesser things.
Listen. I tell you, I show you the places to go. The little tunnels.
Yes, you will.
I will. Yes.
And like all useful things to me, if you remain useful, I won't let anything break you. But if you become you, well, I'll just have to cut you free.
You are strong. Big. Looks to you, Ral. You are strong. You are all strong. Yes. I take you to Anastasia.
Who?
Anastasia. She knows this place better than I.
Is she like your leader or something?
She is the mother. She is the shaman. She is wise beyond her years. Yes.
So be it.
Yes.
Is this water over here?
There is some water near you. However, as you approach it, it is filled with slime.
Also,
Just
Yu's gonna
rot
start
and
sketching.
gunk. You roll me an investigation check.
Then I'm gonna do a sketching for the room.
Yeah, and sketching would be performance, I believe, if I recall.
Well, we have painter's tools, quote unquote, for the sketch thing. So.
Oh yeah. So go ahead and roll me a
Dex.
painter's tools check.
Dex.
I would say this is Dex to get a good sketch of what's going on. Look at, damn. All right.
And I make sure to label everything.
Yeah, you have a really good sketch of the crossroads going. While you're doing that, you did say that you were looking in that circle, and looking around in the circle, you don't find anything super unique in particular, except for you do find it's almost like a piece of glass. Definitely not part of this little structure here.
Pick it up and take it then.
You can just add a piece of glass asterisk. The kobold kind of looks up at both of you. You don't have to tie me. I won't go. I know when I'm beaten.
I don't trust that you won't run away when we're resting.
Understood. However,
Yeah.
know that I will be more useful when untied.
Noted.
Gives you just a nod.
I walk
I
over
wanna-
to the warlock. Be like, help me, please.
What was that, Rel?
I want to check these like upper areas.
Okay.
For things.
Roll me just a perception check for that.
Okay.
In Siege, while we're at it, I want you to go ahead and just roll intimidation for me, please.
Can I roll investigation if I actually climb up there and like look around?
Yeah, it's gonna take you a long ass time to climb it all. So,
How tall are they?
they're about 10 feet tall, no handholds.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not exactly the easiest climb in the world. So you could climb them definitely. There's a concept in older D&D called taking 10 or taking 20, and it's where you take a lot of extra time in order to accomplish something that's normally very difficult. You can do that here, but you guys will be in these crossroads for better part of an hour if you're searching the tops of all of them. Or you can give me a perception check.
I would gladly help, but I need help getting out of this hole. I'm afraid to do it by myself.
I'll give a perception check.
Sure. Yeah, looking around, you don't see anything like immediately noticeable on any of these flats. Especially when you gain distance on some of them with your dark vision, you can kind of make out shapes better. One of them on the far wall seems to have like a bunch of stalagmites growing off of it. But otherwise you don't see anything interesting.
What if I cast light on a pebble and throw it up there?
Sure. Go ahead and you can cast light on a pebble. You throw it up there, and you don't see anything interesting outside the stalagmites. There doesn't appear to be anything on top of these.
Okay, so no, like specifically what I'm looking for, I guess, is like rocks, like different colored rocks.
No, you don't see any different colored rocks or anything like that.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so you have an advantage with this because Amalia is helping you, and you do manage to get out without hurting yourself.
Who was it exactly?
I don't call his name. I barely even recognize the face.
Would you like to describe the face to me? In other words, I'm willing to attempt to sketch it for you. I believe that would be a history check from you and a painter's tool.
Out of character, it would be a history check from Amalia, and it would be a painter's tools wisdom check from you.
Wisdom?
Yep.
That is
Insight.
weird.
So, painter's tools wisdom from you.
Oh shit.
Okay. As you begin recounting this face, you've got a good grasp on what he looks like, but you're having a hard time actually describing it, and you're having a hard time actually kind of feeling out what the face looks like, and you get a sketch of someone, but when you see it, Amalia, it's not as accurate as it could be. It's not perfect by any means. So. The kobold finally speaks up.
Can we rest for a little while?
That would be a really
See no
nice
reason
idea.
not to.
I know a way shortly off here where we can hide.
Okay.
Can we figure out what this is?
The brown sludge, it appears to just be highly contaminated ooze or water or something.
Is there any deposits or anything in this room?
You are free to try and physically check it. From the surface, you don't see anything.
And I imagine the stone statues and stuff wouldn't have dropped anything to loot.
Yeah, there's nothing necessarily interesting. The ooze people have, they're dead. There's nothing left of them. The stone people have also dispersed. There's 3 dead kobolds in the room with you, though.
I'm sorry I have to ask this, Mr. Kobold, but would it be alright if I loot your buddies? Or would that be too disrespectful?
Take them.
Okay.
They were weak and fell in battle.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Blood and honor and all that?
What?
Blood and honor and all that?
He gives you just like the most solemn of nods.
Seriously, what the fuck?
It's not terrible. I'm not gonna make you roll investigation for just the general stuff. You do find 3 daggers, you find 3 slings, and you find about 15 sling pebbles.
3 daggers.
I'm gonna call them sling stones because that sounds better. I like alliteration.
So,
By the way,
Sige?
what did that stone?
Can you let people talk and stop interrupting them?
Mhm.
Thank you. Rel.
Siege, do you not like kobolds or something?
I don't like many other races.
Ooh.
Those that dwell in the dark, in subterranean wastes such as this. Why do they deserve my admiration?
Rel shrugs.
See,
Fair.
there you go.
If it's any consolation, he could have attacked us, and he didn't.
Oh, I want to check my wounds to make sure nothing is really.
Make sure of what?
Nothing is really showing.
No, you're fine.
Shard.
Okay. Kobold. Come. He's hogtied, but you've got him in a situation where he can kind of like hobble or hop.
It's like a dog on a leash. You know,
Yeah.
you can kind of lead in a direction and sees you walk in that.
And he leads you to a portion of the crossroads. He nods in one direction. He goes,
That way is Anastasia.
and you see this large kind of chasm that's gapped across, and he leads you to another section of the crossroads. I'm just gonna move your tokens. Give me a second here. Where a little bit more cozy, a little bit more closed in space. Here, while you're not necessarily guaranteed safety, especially since the stone hollow can come out of the walls at any point, or any form of stone, it is a little bit more cozy. This looks like it was once some kind of maybe den or something like that. And as he leads you in here,
This is where you hid from the stone men. We tried to escape, but they knew.
How long have you been down here?
In the cross section. 3 days.
he holds up his 3 fingers.
3.
Well, I imagine you grew up here, so how long have your people been here?
Down here?
Yes.
4? Maybe 5 weeks.
That's.
We've been here for quite a long time. But when it came to go leave again, we could not. It is sealed.
So how did you get down here?
Through the currents. There are small rivulets that would come through, and we would follow them inwards. It was a nice home, away from the din of Astoria.
Here, you guys could potentially take a long rest. However, I would ask for a encounter roll.
I think I'm going to take that. Me and my 1
Yeah.
HP says if I continue, I'm going to die.
A long rest still it's not like extended time or anything. It's still
I'm sorry, a short rest is what you could take here. A long rest is 8 hours, a short rest is 1 hour.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant short rest.
I'm a warlock, I'll take either.
That's true. So, it's up to y'all what you take. You've been down here in the depths already for about 8 hours, ever since you entered floor 1.
What do you get from a short rest again? I know you can burn a hit die, but
You can burn hit die. Paladins don't get a whole lot. The paladins are very long rest based classes. You can burn hit die, and that's really about it for a paladin.
I'm fine.
In fact, all of you are very long rest based classes except for Amalia. Amalia just
not.
gets. Rogues are pretty long rest
I
based.
literally exhaust nothing.
Right, but later on, most of your abilities are long rest based as a rogue. So. It's up to y'all if y'all want to try to take the short rest or not.
I'm down for whatever. I'm
Are you
literally
talking about short
perfectly
rest
fine.
long?
Okay. Sure.
Fusion is healthy as well.
All right. So.
I do want to explore this little place though during our rest.
Yeah, you can look around this area during the rest if you don't want to actually take one. It's up to you.
So, are we taking a long rest or a short rest?
Be a short rest.
I'm taking a short rest.
I'd rather not.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Are you going to continue on then?
I would prefer to take a long rest other than a short rest.
You can try.
I think that's somewhat unwise.
We can stop here for a minute. Or we can go to Anastasia. We can rest for longer there. It's safe. The stone men don't come to us.
Short rest it is then.
Do you?
Who's taking first watch?
I'm perfectly fine.
Well, we're doing a short
Watches-
rest.
Short rest. Oh my god.
Still probably should have a watch. Just DM note.
Okay, we'll see. She'll keep an eye out then. It was just a short rest.
Yeah, it's an hour long. One of you roll me a d12.
Is that before or after I do my hit die?
I'll roll it.
Sure. All right. Cool.
Well, you keep watch. I'm going to look around.
If you want to do a more thorough investigation of the crossroads in general, you can roll me an investigation check if you'd like.
Sure. I want to start with the area that we're in currently, though.
Perfect. I'd say give me an investigation check for this, and then give me a survival check for everything else.
Okay. 22.
Yeah, that's about right. Looking in this area, you see that this is definitely some kind of wild beast's den. It looks like, you know, there's definitely remnants of something had lived here at one point. Perhaps no longer though. Stones are unturned. There are bits of debris and filth. There's what is basically petrified shit at one point. And then looking further into the rest of the crossroads, you don't notice anything that catches your eye. It's all very bland, very samey. It seems like this is a hotbed for activity, though, as there are dens that seem to have been used and then reused and reused again.
Okay. Question, by the way.
Sure.
I'm having an issue with typing. And anytime I click, it causes me to automatically highlight the letter that's selected and doesn't give me a cursor. And if I start typing, it starts replacing letters.
Hit the insert button on your keyboard.
Insert. You're a lifesaver, thank you.
Yeah, welcome to insert buttons. I don't know why it's a thing. Nobody uses it.
But I don't use it as the thing. I don't know how
Yeah,
to press.
that's what I said. Like, nobody uses insert. Okay. So you guys finish your short rest. You can have burned hit die as you please, and upon finishing the short rest, you may continue at your leisure. You have the kobold kind of has laid it out for you at this point. There are two separate areas that you can go. There's up and there is down. He says, "Don't go down. Down is bad. Down is death. Up is towards Anastasia. Up is survival and numbers, and there's strength in numbers."
Can I insight check the kobold?
Definitely.
Okay, I want to see if he's trying to lure us into a trap.
Sure. You can't get a read on him.
You better not be lying to us, or you're not going to have a very good time.
I am not lying to you.
And by that,
I
I mean
have-
I'm going to kill you.
I have my motives.
Like a trap.
Plus, the big man is scary. No, no trap.
Good.
A deer. We talk more when we get there. I lead you to safety. Then maybe you see I'm useful.
Ralph crosses his arms and nods hesitantly.
He kind of takes one hand that's bound and puts it to his temple in that like big think motion. He goes,
Besides, can't die if the oozes get me.
just gives this cackling laugh.
So what direction are we going in?
Anyone?
Well, we have to go north, right?
That's what the kobold suggested, no?
And it's part of one of the quests that we have to do. We were asked to make friends, remember? Not a war.
If possible.
Can I investigate the little hallways that leads into this room?
That's kind of what the survival check was for, was you just kind of trying to feel out these hallways and stuff. If you wanted to investigate them fully, it would take you much longer than an hour. There's a lot of them. If you're talking about just the ones in this room, sure, roll me a quick investigation check. I'm going to give you disadvantage because otherwise you're going to take a long fucking time to investigate them all. Okay, 11. There's nothing in particular of note here. Like I said, it's mostly just dens that have been reused by various wildlife down here, whatever it may be. However, you do notice one interesting area that seems to be completely and totally blocked off by a large landslide. And from behind it, there is a small bit of light.
What's back here?
He nods towards it.
Not idea. Not been back there.
Oh, no idea. Okay.
Can I make a perception check to see through? Like see
You
if I
can, yeah, you can make me a perception check, but it's going to be with disadvantage because there's very little ways to see through this. Nutty deer, yeah. That's totally what this was.
12. That's a double 12.
Double 12. Looking behind, you can't make out exactly what's giving off the light. He shakes his head.
No points.
I mean, if there's light, there's kind of a point.
The point of light.
Hey, Mr. Strongbones. You want a mining pickaxe to smash through that?
Are you speaking to me?
Yes.
I thought these walls were impervious to pickaxes.
That's a wall that leads somewhere.
It's a landslide.
Yeah.
I could take a go.
And if it destroys it, oh well. I don't care.
Do you have a pickaxe?
Yes, I have a miner's pickaxe.
I'm going to help with a crowbar to like.
Okay,
leverage.
sure. If you're doing this, I would need the mining pickaxe is the thing that's even giving you the ability to make the check. So I would say a strength check, with advantage. Because Rel is attempting to help you.
12.
Okay, a 12. You managed to get a lot of the rubble free, and kind of create this handhold. One of you could climb in, but you'd have to climb in one at a time.
I can fit through without much issue.
As can I.
How
Besides,
tall is Sige? Siege, out of curiosity.
How tall is he?
Yeah, how tall is he?
Around 6 foot, I'd say.
Okay. Is he pretty big and burly, or is he a little bit more of a...
Yeah, he's a stocky guy.
Okay, gotcha.
besides, you did take a beating, so
I'm fine.
Who's going through first?
well, I guess since Rel's right there, she will.
Okay.
I'll follow
She would be
behind.
down there.
Okay, sure. Go ahead and make...
That's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. Make me an athletics check.
Oof.
Yeah. You squeeze through and then boom, land on your head.
Oof.
Take 1 point of damage.
Oh, it's the first point of damage I've taken all campaign.
The first point of damage for you is you landing on your head.
What do I have to roll?
You, given well, it depends on how you're doing it.
Just climbing in.
Okay.
Or I don't know if you have to climb in or slide in.
You'd have to climb up over this kind of there's a hole at the top of all this rubble, and you'd have to climb up the rubble and try to get in on the other side.
Okay. Climb and then slide
Okay.
through.
You're just gonna slide through?
Yep.
Okay. You all watch her nimbly just slip on through. No issues whatsoever. I'm not gonna make you roll a check for this because of that trait that you have.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you enjoy falling on your head?
Hey, you don't know what happened. You didn't see.
Yeah, you don't know what happened. You just heard a.
You hurt yourself somehow.
You don't know
You don't
that.
know that.
I didn't say shit.
From within the room beyond, you see sprouting from the wall a large green crystal. Large being about the size of the palm of your hand, more or less. It's a large handful of green crystal. Not quite emerald, giving off this soft green light. On the floor in front of you is a bed of hay with a rotting corpse on it. Whatever was left of what looks like a gnome or a halfling.
Current router, maybe?
There are several burnt out torches around, a small satchel next to the skeletal corpse, and a small chest.
Possibly. What's in the box?
Don't touch it. Case traps.
Well, I was gonna check it for traps.
Good.
Okay.
I don't think I want to be exploded while we're in such a small spot.
Mind giving me a hand?
Sure.
Okay, roll me in investigation with advantage.
22.
22, there are no traps on this. It is, however, locked.
Good thing I'm here.
Oh.
Let me pick the lock, darling.
Alright.
Would you like
She's
to
gonna
help
go
me?
look at the rock. Oh.
I
Yeah,
can have my little
guess.
dragon help me.
Can the dragon help?
I'm gonna say no on this one.
Can
Not
I?
gonna be able to. Yeah, you can help.
Alright, then yeah, I'll help.
13, you just barely managed to. The lock is open. Inside, you open up and you find 6 gold towers, which are the main currency of Astoria.
6
And
gold towers.
Yep, 6 gold.
Okay.
You find 5 pieces of silver.
5. And I'm writing this all down.
Okay. And you find a small scroll.
When I open it, does it read?
You don't make any sense heads or tails of this thing. It's confusing.
May I see
I
it?
think it's a spell scroll. Be careful, though.
Can I read it?
Yeah. Looking at it, I believe this is on the sorcerer spell list. If it's not, fuck it, it is now. Looking at it, this is a scroll of scorching ray.
Ooh.
What is it?
Scorching ray scroll.
Cool. I write it down, and you can have it if you want it.
Yep. Rel pockets it.
Sure. It does require a check for you currently because you can't technically cast it.
I don't think I'm spelling scorching ray right. I hope. I think that's right.
Okay.
And what would I have to roll to try and figure out what this crystal is?
Roll me an Arcana check, please.
Okay. Well, I have expertise in this.
You do. Looking at it, you're fairly certain this is a current router, although it doesn't look like most of them. It's very cloudy. Maybe it's kind of a more raw form of one, unrefined.
Maybe someone at camp can identify it?
Maybe. Would Rel know how to harvest it?
Oh yeah, they're fairly easy to harvest. You mine them just like you would mine any other gemstone.
Do you
Hey,
the pickaxe?
Siege, sorry.
What?
Can you slide the pickaxe through, please?
I got.
Pickaxe is slid through.
Okay, I grab it and give it to her.
I will try and mine it then.
Yeah, easy enough. It's not even there's no check required here. You just need
Cool.
something to pry it off the wall with. You managed to easily get the gemstone off the wall. It does weigh about a pound, so
That's
you have
fine.
just add a green current router to your inventory.
I'm going to look at what's in the satchel.
Okay. In the satchel, there is what used to be something that looked like food, I'm sure. However, it doesn't look edible any longer. It's just this rotten mass of something.
Okay. Anything else? That's it? Nothing else?
Roll me a perception check.
19.
There is a shiny silver amulet around the corpse's neck.
I take it, and I take out the withering stone and see if it's magical or not.
It scratches.
Okay. It's not. Okay. I mark down what it is. I need to know if I need to put an asterisk on it or not.
What's
You're
a withering
cutting
stone?
out so much.
It's a whetstone.
A whetstone?
Yeah, whetstone.
Yeah, it's just a whetstone. It's
That lets you
okay.
check magical
something
things
you would
that
sharpen a
help
blade
you
with.
check.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why she said withering stone.
I'm going to call it all sorts of weird shit.
Okay. Okay, so you investigate this little den. This seems to be the only thing that you guys find of interest within this area.
Can I figure out how old the body is?
Either of you can try. It'll be a medicine check.
Medicine check? Out of character, -1. What is yours?
You can both try.
Okay. I got a nat 20 and a natural 1.
Nice.
A history wouldn't help, would it?
Not necessarily. No, this would be medicine.
Okay. That's a 13.
Yeah. You looking at this body, you're very confident it's at least more than probably 2 weeks old. It could be as old as 20 days. So. Most of it has decomposed into skeletal tissue. You finally hear the kobold speak up in the background. Hey.
Yeah?
Are we going or are we staying? It's very dangerous here.
Is
They're doing something.
Sorry, we found stuff.
is there anything else other than what we missed?
That's all that you've seen.
Okay. I take my pick back and I'm going to help her through the hole.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, easy enough. With help, it's not too hard to get up there and kind of on the other side, especially since the siege is on the other side.
And I do the same.
Yep, and you slip through easily.
Rel brushes herself off. My
Do you get that-
apologies.
Do you get that trait from level 1? I don't remember.
Oh, hell yes. It's a character
Okay,
trait.
cool. Gotcha.
My apologies. We found some gold and silver and decaying gnome or halfling, I'm not sure which, as well as a current rattlestone.
Well, that's useful. Should please the guild or whatsoever.
We got a little bit of gold to split amongst ourselves. Not a whole lot, but and some other loot.
And as a note, gold is still used within the camp, by the way. People do still sell and buy goods and everything. There's a small little economy kind of building as well.
So we got some items to trade and a free current router.
Yep, and y'all know that current routers are those of you that can cast spells. If you can cast a spell, you know what a current router is. They are basically just gemstones that can bind to a person magically and enhance their magical abilities. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, and we will continue onwards. Which direction are you guys going to go?
We're probably going to go up, right?
You have south, and you have north. The kobold has told you that to the north is Anastasia and the rest of his kobold clan, and to the south there is only death. There is only ooze and stone men. Think on that.
Well,
I have to pee.
okay.
Starting. So
Oh, okay.
I hadn't unmuted. There we go. I'm good.
Cool. You have now. Did we ever decide on direction?
I said up.
Up is most
Up.
likely.
Yeah,
best.
up.
Up. Okay. So.
Wait, we can fly now?
Woo! Flying! Ha ha! North you go, led by the little kobold, who has introduced himself as Tacitus. He leads you step by step through the terrible, dreary sickly green area. He calls the halls of death and ooze.
Why death and ooze?
Because this is where you go to die when you're sick. The oozes take you, they do.
When you're sick.
Yes. The sick cannot live down here.
Why?
There is no food.
What is it you kobolds subsist off of?
Down here we eat the lichen and the fish. There is a fungus that grows in our home, but our home has been taken.
By?
I go. By the stone men.
Mm.
By the one who summons the swords. He comes, he laughs, he slays us all.
Is there a name?
No, no name.
He
Just-
laughs.
Yes. He taunts us.
Is he too a stone man?
I think so.
Are you
I did not see him myself.
Well, it would be useful if we knew if he is organic or not.
I'm sorry. I have never seen him.
Has your elder?
Perhaps, but you will have to talk to Anastasia.
He leads you forward 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. We're slowly encroaching upon the point where you will have to take a long rest. Go ahead and roll me an encounter die, please.
Who's rolling next?
I'll do it.
Okay.
D12?
Yep,
D12.
it's a d12.
Okay. 6.
The next several hours go by without a hitch, and finally, you arrive in a massive open cavern. The sound of gentle drops from the ceiling echo throughout huge and massive space, and you can see throughout this area there are small little lights that have been lit, candles of a sort. Some of them feature a dawn shard topped. What is this thing? It's called a plinth. A dawn shard up top of plinth that gives light to the area. Others are actual open flames. You can see that there's been building here. There is wood, large wooden structures, scaffolding across the entirety of this area, and busybodies, kobolds, work in almost silence, except for the occasional yelp or whimper. Tacitus seems to get excited.
We are here, we are here. We are here. Yes. Welcome through the... Welcome to the Draconi tribe.
Siege will take to the kobold's bindings and he says, I want you to follow us back out, you hear me?
I can do this. But perhaps, you talk to Anastasia, you have another idea. We will...
Take us to your leader then.
We come in peace. Okay. He leads you through this wide open area. There's kobolds that kind of give you this wide berth. Some of them stare at you agape, like you hear whispers every now and then. Many of them just part and just don't look at you. There's a couple of younger kobolds you see here, but they are all hard at work doing various things, gathering. You see these large, I forgot what they're called when a stalagmite and a stalactite join together, but you see these large kind of columns of sediment that have joined together from the ceiling down to the floor, and they seem to be growing this moss on them, which some of them are currently harvesting. There's an atmosphere. It's kind of a mixture of sobriety and jovialness at the same time. It's kind of this intense anxiety, and as you cross into this kind of smaller area which is surrounded by wood, you see in front of you a short but lithe dragonborn reclined upon a bed of this moss. She periodically takes bits of it and just tosses it in her mouth and chews thoughtfully. Her scales are a dark black, and she smiles as you enter, staring down at Tacitus. Tacitus, you have brought me gifts. She bows to you. Guests, perhaps. Aye, she rises from this kind of bed of lichen and moss. Anastasia, I see your returns, my friend, to me. I thank you.
He was the only one that survived. Sorry.
As it should be.
As it should be?
Yes. Down here, the strong flourish, and the weak are left behind. This is the way.
And all of the kobolds in the room, there's like 4 or 5 of them, all kind of reverently bow for a moment.
Respectable philosophy.
We can have it no other
Kill
way.
off.
If the weak drag down the strong here, we will all be killed off. I would love to be as generous as I could, but the reality of the situation is more dire than that. Tell me, how did you come to be down here?
Excavation gone wrong, then swallowed up.
She stands up to her full height, which is still not very impressive. She's rather short for a dragonborn, actually. You can see her kind of she has this almost tribal outfit on of various colored, what amounts to rags, really. Except for on her wrist is this really nice red silk, and on both of her horns sticking out of the back of her head, you see the same red silk. Let's see if I have a handout for her. I do. And as a side note, in Faerun, in the typical 5e kind of settings, Dragonborn are usually pretty stocky creatures. In Aram, they are not. They are much more lithe and kind of really kind of Argonian-like. If you play the Elder Scrolls.
I wish to know your names.
I'm Sige.
She gives you a small bow.
My name is Amalia.
Amalia. Pretty name.
And you? She looks to you, Rel.
Rel bows her head slightly and says, my name is Relindra.
Relindra.
And the last one here, your friends, the shady one?
You, and this is Yin.
Ah, you have a little friend with you. It's very nice. Very nice. Welcome to my tribe. We are the Draconi. We welcome you with open arms, so long as you can pull your own weight. If you wish to join, you may. Oh, you may find little company among the kobolds, for they are many, and I am few.
So, out of character question real quick.
Sure.
Are kobold tribes normally led by Dragonborn?
They're kind of so kobolds originated from the continents of Wild's Peak. You would kind of know this. Anyone with any decent education knows where kobolds come from. They come from the continents of Wild's Peak and Mirvanin, and those are kind of the home of the Inara and the Dragonborn, and they kind of live as second-class citizens there. So a lot of them have left those continents. And there's been a little bit of an influx of them up here in Nordatero, which is kind of the area that you're in, and especially northern Storia.
The Dragonborn or the kobolds?
The kobolds.
So they're not
not
second-class citizens.
Yeah, the kobolds live as second-class citizens. Dragonborn are kind of, they're full-fledged citizens within both of those ranks.
Okay. So, how did you come to be the leader of this group of kobolds?
The previous one was,
She kind of taps her head a little bit.
little touched. He was cruel, evil. I don't like cruel or evil. I am practical. There is a difference. They saw me. They saw an intelligent leader. They saw him. They saw a vile, cruel man. It was easy.
We are from another group that's several hours away, but we were asked to make friends with other people because we don't want to cause a war or fighting in a delicate, I guess you could call it, ecosystem that's here.
She kind of cocks her head to the side a
With,
little bit.
you know, the slimes and oozes and wall popping out stone men.
Ah, the stone men. Yes. They did not come here. It is safe.
Why do they not come to this place?
Because we possess the trump card. We have the trump card. We have the stone of Anandrala.
What is that?
It turns them to dust.
Is there one stone, or is it a type of stone?
I am not sure. As far as I know, there is only one, but there could be many.
Where did you acquire this stone?
We found it on our encampment, our original encampment, when we first entered into this area. Several years ago, really, but when the stone men first appeared 5-6 weeks ago, it's hard to keep track of time down here. We discovered that one of our stones, it's very pretty, I will show it to you, could ward them off. It would turn them to rubble instantly.
Yes, may we see it so that we can keep an eye out.
Yes. I will show it to you as a favor to my new guests.
Thank you.
Gives you a just kind of wide bow, this almost a flourishing bow, and turns to some of the other kobolds. Farah, Tanya, please accompany me. And two of the other kobolds kind of salute. Both of them have staves in their grasp, and they're both very lightly armored with just kind of like scraps of material. Some of it's wood, some of it's metal, some of it's leather. It's kind of just this weird cacophony of semi-protective things. And as they lead you further into the encampment, you kind of double back towards the entrance and then take this wide left. And as you arrive in the center of the encampment, you've got a pretty good idea of how big this place is, and it's several hundred feet on any side. We're talking probably a little bit bigger than a football stadium. In the center is this pedestal made of what amounts to finely carved stone, though it's broken in pieces, are missing, and it just is eroded away. On top of this sits a singular black gem that's radiating a very soft purple glow.
Can I draw it?
Yeah, you may. It's easy enough. The gem itself is well cut. It's faceted, several dozen facets across each face of the gem, and almost oval-like in shape.
So, you said that it crumbles them to dust, correct?
Yes, as soon as they come within 30-40 feet of it, they just fade away.
Would this work with the undead that we've heard about down here?
See, therein lies the problem. We had this, and we were safe. But then, the undead, the skeletons, they sprang out of the walls. The stone men that were with them, they crumbled to dust, but the undead, they stayed, and they slaughtered us. We had to flee.
Maybe
But
we're
we
not
have
supposed
made
to
our
do
home
this.
here.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you tried to capture any of the stone men?
Why would we do that?
Study?
No, they are dangerous. We have a weapon against them which we can use. It's proven very effective. No, the danger for us is skeletons and the oozes. Though the oozes don't tend to come in here either. I don't think they like the light.
You look around; it's very well lit.
Hmm.
Do you have extra light that we could take with us?
I believe I do. Yes, we have many gunshots.
Those would be appreciated, even if you can spare.
I could spare some. Could you perhaps do me a favor in the travels? I assume you're heading out. There are two directions, and she points back the way you came. That way, and she points kind of east. And that way.
Depends on what the favor is.
Would like you to perhaps recover a possession of mine. Maybe I tell you some secrets, if you could.
What is this possession?
She kind of smirks. She looks at the two kobolds. Go on, my darlings. Go kill something or stab a rabbit or toad. And one of them goes, we don't have any rabbits down here. Yes. Scoot. And they kind of scoot away. She leans in really close, like she's about to tell you the world's biggest secret. She goes, it is another one of those. And she points to the stone on the plinth.
Why? Sorry. Why do you need a second?
Because they don't last forever. You see, I have special talents. These kobolds, they think me an amateur of magic, but it's not true. She kind of flicks her wrist really quickly, and a couple of arcane glyphs appear in the air. I'm a bit of a thaumaturge. And that stone, very difficult to create. Very difficult.
So you didn't find it then?
No, it's a story. The kobolds, they must believe this. They can't know that I have this magic. They would demand I make more. And every one I make is more and more difficult than the last. It takes more and more of my life essence.
So tell us, is there a way that you perhaps know of to escape these light to the outside or something similar?
We had the place once underneath the waves, the lake. We could go underneath and swim through, but it is closed. We can't open it again.
What happened?
We don't know. One day we came down. There was a rumble, and some 5 or 6 weeks ago, it sealed us out. A week ago, the stone men and the skeletons and the oozes all spring on us in our sleep. We murdered many, but most of us got away. Kind of waves her hand out over the entire encampment. I would say probably 100, give or take.
Could we have caused them to react that violently whenever we fell through? Anyway, for your old encampment, the kobold spoke of, an individual who's summoning them. Is it organic or another construct?
The individual, we call him the Blade Slinger. Not sure if he is man or stone, but he is very dangerous. I could not match him.
Ron leans in and whispers something.
Okay. Are you trying to hide it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll stealth.
No.
Does anyone here speak? Does anyone here speak Draconic?
I do.
Okay. I will message you what you hear. The rest of you hear Rel say something in Draconic.
What was Draconic translate?
Draconic is it is the language of Mirvanine. It is kind of the national language of the Inara and the Dragonborn. What it sounds like is a I forgot. It's like it's Tajik is the actual language that is based on Tajik and Russian. So it sounds like this a little bit. You have the deep L's and some pretty harsh consonants in there. Common Draconic names are like Zatal and Talik and stuff like that. Quick, fast syllables.
Oh, okay.
She answers back in Draconic. She stops after just a few sentences and she looks at you. Yes.
Okay.
Did we take a long rest when we
No,
got
you
out?
haven't had a long rest yet, and you're encroaching on the point where you probably are going to have to take one.
Yeah.
You guys are about 20 hours deep in the, well, maybe not. But you're getting close to it.
Is there lodging available for non-kobolds in your city?
Oh yeah, you're like almost 20 hours. We have plenty of beds, yes. They are nice, actually. We managed to carry much supplies down here before the seals. And we did manage to scavenge some of it after the attack. We had been building an encampment here for some time, as it's roughly connected to our previous area.
Roughly?
Yes. You go south, the crossroads, and you will encounter us.
What
Well,
happened to the previous area?
They were invaded.
it was attacked
By these stone men.
by the stonemen and the skeletons and the oozes all at once. Coordinated effort.
Is this one of your kobolds warned us of the south? Was that?
Yes. It's to the south of the crossroads.
I see.
Would that be where the guy is summoning them as well?
There is a summoner. He could raise constructs and undead with a snap of his fingers. As I said, he was very, very powerful. I could not match him. And I'm no slouch when it comes to magical incantations.
I suppose we best avoid that area then. But
It is very dangerous.
I worry that they might follow the path we've taken. March on camp. This force of stone men and
It is possible. We have spotted undead scouts in the area. They are quick and nimble and very hard to catch.
Well, we have to keep in mind that they're going to send another party after us after 3 days. Hasn't been 3 days yet, but we should measure our time wisely and then head back and then make sure the camp knows not to go down that way.
Agreed. So, we try and prevent a loss of life that chased us back to camp. As much as we're looking for an exit, let's also be looking to prevent catastrophe.
Now, you say you have a camp. Is this... kind of seems a little bit more defensive at this point. Is this a large encampment?
By circumstance.
How many
I see.
people did you say it was?
It's about 340.
Yeah.
How many people does the city have? By at a glance, more?
At a glance, you only see about 40 or 50 kobolds just kind of running
okay.
around at the moment. She did say 100 earlier, but
That was to them dying.
no, that
Right.
was they saved about 100. She said.
Oh.
But you're not sure of the exact number. It's not like super populated though. It's not super dense, and this area is about as big as the Ford encampment, as the Ford camp that you guys are in.
We don't wish any hostilities between us.
I do not wish any hostilities either. I would like to avoid them if possible, given recent events.
Well, whenever we return, we'll tell them about this encampment and that you're the leader. If they
Yes.
have anything whenever we come back down, I imagine we can just pass along a message.
When you tell them that they must be wary not to venture too close to the camp without a guide. We are crafty.
Aren't we all?
No.
Regardless, I think it's best if we stay here for some time, eat our rations, and rest.
You are more than welcome to stay here in the camp.
Rest
She-
is good.
She snaps her fingers a couple times, and a couple of kobold kind of rush over. She looks up the street.
Fetch Magus a couple of the light crystals, if you would.
And they kind of scamper away really quickly, returning shortly after. And you guys have like another 5 dawn shards.
For each
Nice.
or...
Well, for the party,
Mhm.
you have about 5 more. They last 24 hours to get the same light as a torch. So, and Rel does have the light cantrip, so that helps.
Okay.
I also have
She-
a light cantrip.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. You're in Elsamar, so you do have the
so
light cantrip.
much light.
We have so much light. That's good. As she tells you, this is they don't mind a little light, but they don't like a lot of it. Too much light, and they scurry away.
Keep that in mind. Does anything happen when you break one of these dawn shards?
I've never tried. I'm not sure.
Anyone that wants to can roll an Arcana check.
I'm not even gonna bother because
Okay, sure.
19.
that's the. Ooh.
Fucking oof.
Fucking oof, right there. That's that
My
expertise
Arcana
at work.
rolls, yeah, have not been good.
Oh, it's nerves. You know. Okay. I keep forgetting we only have 4 people. I'm like waiting for the 5th roll. I'm like, where is it? You're fairly confident that breaking them would be a bad idea, as it simply renders them non-functional.
Thinks about it for a second. Okay, I'm going to tell you, if you break them, they won't work ever again. Got it?
Well, rather disappointing, but so be it.
You also know that that Dawn Shards are considered a special type of current router. They're like a very low tier current router. They don't channel magic per se, but they channel light. And they can be recharged by exposing them to sunlight. However,
There's no.
pretty difficult down here.
Well, the good news is we don't toss them away. If we can get sunlight somehow, we can at least recharge them.
Interesting.
Yes, but I imagine we'll have better things to do if we see sunlight than recharge our crystal.
Well, I mean, if you get sunlight and there's a barrier in the way, use the sunlight to charge your crystals while you can, right?
And the little token on the map, by the way, is a Dawn Shard.
Yeah.
Very well.
Now, you may rest here. There are many beds. You can simply pick and choose as you wish.
She kind of points to a larger area that's kind of got this wooded awning over it. Seems to stop most of the moisture, and underneath it there are just dozens and dozens and dozens of beds. And some of them will be taken, but you can find your own. Beware the grabby things. Do not hesitate to punch them in the face.
Grabby things.
Some of them like the shinies.
If they take something of yours, you let me know. They die.
Sige will kind of perch himself down on one of the beds. Cloak around him is like a little force field.
Yeah.
Keep the grabby hands at bay.
The bed itself is not like, it's not fabulous or anything, but it's a hell of a lot better than stone. It seems to be made of kind of like a large bit of burlap that's just been stuffed with this lichen. Some of this coming out of the sides. It's everywhere. And it smells oddly sweet, like almost like honeysuckle, but a little different.
Hey, Siege.
Yes.
Rolina pulls a tent kit out of her backpack. If you would like to set this up, I will share it with you.
So be it. I'll do that. Do I need to make a roll or anything, or is it pretty mundane?
It's pretty mundane. It's easy enough. You're very familiar with camp life at this point, so you guys
That's
set it
true.
up easily. And Anastasia kind of gives you all a bow. I will leave you to your misgivings. Please don't hesitate to confine me if you have any questions. I am more than happy. It's been quite some time since I've had guests in my encampment.
Relina bows, and then...
Well, I could totally,
All right. Relina bows, and then what?
leans in and whispers something again, and I'm gonna message it to you.
Sure. Are you trying to hide it?
Yeah.
Yep. Roll me a stealth check.
Yep. Oop. Bam. 20.
Eve, I'm sorry, what's your passive perception?
18.
Okay. You just barely succeed.
She whispers that in... I guess it's Ancient Dragon, right? Ancient Draconic.
Yeah, Ancient Draconic.
Yeah.
She turns to you and just gives you a nod.
Okay.
And you set up camp for the night. You can take a long rest. You do not need to roll any encounter die here. This is considered the same thing as town.
What were you saying, you?
Perfect.
Oh yeah, what were you saying, you? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot.
Are you gonna do the thing?
Do the what thing?
You said you were gonna do the thing, I think.
No,
Oh, okay.
I was
Okay.
I think she
hit
was
on her.
talking about...
I was gonna hit on her, and then
Okay.
Oh.
I completely forgot to.
There's a reason behind all of this. At some point, you will all find out.
So why she wanted to hit on a dragonborn?
Who knows?
I mean,
You know, I'm not-
since you're all by yourself, I've never actually slept with a dragonborn.
Do you actually say that to her?
Yes.
You know,
Roll persuasion.
this is some divinity
25.
original sin shit.
It really is. Except worse, actually. There's a reason behind it that's worse than anything Divinity has to offer. 25. She looks at you. She looks you up and down. She goes, "Not my type. Not tonight. Maybe later."
It's worth a try.
Okay. And you all get
Are you-
your.
into Dragonborn or something? Because I noticed you hit on... oh god, I can't remember her name. Hayan, yes.
No, I don't have a particular type. I mean, ever since I got free, I mean, I swore at least I'd try it once, right?
You know,
Sleeping with a Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Hashtag lizards.
Okay. Teach their own.
Siege has retired. He is
Why
not
not?
listening to this conversation.
Okay, so you have retired for the night. You do not have to roll any encounter die while you are in the Draconian encampment. It is considered town, so it is safe here. There will be no encounters within the Draconian encampment until said otherwise. So you eventually come to rise. You all have a fairly good circadian rhythm kind of going, even with the lack of natural light. And as you rise, you kind of look around you, and most of the natural flames have gone out. However, now there is a fungus on the walls everywhere that you didn't notice before, and it is just shining with this bright blue light. It's kind of beautiful. For those of you that have played Skyrim, if you've been in Blackreach, it's pretty similar to that.
Ooh, yeah, that's very pretty.
I wish I had prepared a handout for that one.
Oh, look out for Blackreach. Well, look for a picture for Blackreach, and maybe somebody screenshotted it.
Oh, I'm sure there's tons of screenshots of Blackreach, but
Oh, that is gorgeous.
There's
Mhm.
also the underground caverns as well that they had in a DLC that had nothing but blue glowing stuff. I forgot what DLC that is.
it's not part of the DLC. That's part of the base game.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Blackreach. The blue glowy underground caverns.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, that's Blackreach. I'll just post a picture in What Lies Below chat. So, kind of similar to this. There's just these large fungi. Some of them are small, some of them are not. But they just dot the walls, and there are millions of them.
Maybe we can grow this fungus back in our cavern. What do you think?
Do you have something to take a sample?
Does it look similar to the purple fungus?
Sorry.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. Well, it's just a thought. I mean, I imagine we can find something in the encampment that'll let us take some back.
Well, if we could gather some spores, we could create our own.
Do you know how to collect the spores?
No.
Hmm.
We might ask the kobolds though, they might know.
Maybe. Or maybe they just scrape it off and eat it.
If they're smart, they'd harvest it and create more so that they don't run out.
They're kobolds.
Looking
Seems
at
rather
this
prolific.
looking at this blue fungus, it almost seems like that's what they've done. This has definitely been cultivated.
Well, we can ask around.
I think the best person to ask would be Anastasia. Anastasia?
Anastasia, yeah.
Anastasia.
It's Anastasia, but Russian.
Okay.
That's fine.
As you kind of search around for Anastasia, you do eventually find her. Yes, my friends. How can I help you?
We were wondering how we would go about taking some of this fungus home with us. Try cultivating it there.
Simply clip some off if you'd like, and you can take it with you. We have so much of it. It's not edible. Don't eat it. It's very toxic. It will kill you quickly and painfully. It's your bowels come out the wrong side.
It might make a good poison then.
Perhaps, but only in large doses.
So, why do you cultivate it then?
Do you not see? She kind of waves her hand around. It is lights. Those they hate this stuff. There's so much light, and you look around, and it is fairly bright in here. I mean, it's not like sunlight bright, but it is bright enough for you to be able to see well. This is considered bright light. Enough of this, and you're not necessarily ooze proof, but ooze resistant, no?
Yes, this would be good for the library.
Yeah, considering they keep trying to get in there.
Take some back with you. It's my gifts. Free of charge, of course.
Perhaps just a scraping off the wall will suffice.
It grows rather quickly if you had lots of water. Something we had lots of at some point.
Did you run out of water?
The stone men, they took our camp, and with it, most of our water. We gather what water we can now from further east. She points to the far east, and the condensation in here.
So your camp, was that to the south or to the east?
To the south. South of here, far below the crossroad, nearly a day's journey. You will eventually run across our original encampment. It was built. We found it and settled there.
Hmm.
We think somebody built it long ago, but has abandoned it since.
And what was to the east of your camp here?
To the east is not as dangerous as one would believe, but there is some water. There is a little stream that we can collect from, and a larger open room.
Hmm.
We haven't ventured too far east. It gets more dangerous the further you travel.
Okay.
So, take some of the fungus back home. You can cultivate it. It grows well in water and moisture. And once there is enough of it, you can mash it up, make compost, and grow more of it.
So, and Rel turns to the rest of the party. What do you think we should do? Should we go south? Should we continue further exploring further east, or
South would be doubling back. No.
Yeah.
we could go back to base and report what we have?
I'd say report what we have and see what they want us to do with it. And brings back some of the fungus, in case they want to grow some.
Yes, that could be.
If we continue east on a, like, I don't know, day's journey or whatever it may be.
There is logic in not overextending ourselves. I do.
Yeah, I would at least like to warn the camp not to go south because it's very dangerous. And also a guide for here.
Perhaps we can encourage members of the camp to set up something of an outpost at the cross, first line of defense.
That's an idea. And Rel turns back to Anastasia.
Yep.
Okay. Perhaps you could send an ambassador with us.
I could do this. Yes. She looks around you. Tacitus kind of motions to the kobold you recognize from before. Come here. And he kind of walks forward. He's got his chest kind of puffed out a little bit. Yes. You fancy accompanying my friends here? You seem acquainted with them. Yes? She kind of gives him this like sly grin, and he looks over at all of you with this slow turn. It's like one of those office moments where the person looks at the camera and breaks the fourth wall. He kind of looks at all of you. Yes, I am familiar. Good. You will accompany them. On their way back to the encampments, you will act as an ambassador for me. You know me. You represent my interests. Do poorly, and I feed you to the oozes.
Welcome, Scout.
He kind of gives you a nod, turns to all of you, especially to you, Sige, and salutes.
Yeah, you're learning quickly.
He is a loyal soldier. A good one, too. Good survival instincts.
What were you saying? Spirit?
Oh,
Totally still tied up when we came into the camp, wasn't he?
No, we,
No, you cut him loose
Siege
at the very
released
beginning.
him.
Oh, okay.
I felt it may have been bad for diplomacy if I walked in with one of their people in chains.
The whole encounter could have gone very differently.
Carry him like a purse. Be like, here you go. I think this is yours.
Okay.
Okay, so then we shall return back to the camp and go from there then? I think that's what we agree on.
I reckon that's the best choice.
Okay. All right. Easy enough. So
Get
you,
some moss. Make sure to make note of that.
yeah. Are you taking any of the lichen?
What is the lichen?
It is a thick moss that grows on the columns, and it's very different than the fungus as well. They're not the same thing at all. This is a moss, whereas the fungus is like mushrooms and stuff.
What does the lichen do?
We use it for many things. It's good bedding, and it's also nutritious. It's not very tasty. It's a little sweet, but it is easy to grow.
Would you be alright to take some of this too?
Definitely, we have lots.
Same preferences as this light moss?
It will grow well in moisture and dark areas, which happen to be common in caves.
Alright. I didn't want to take it without asking.
Definitely.
And where did you say this other light, or not light, this other stone is?
She kind of looks hesitantly over
She-
at Tacitus.
Well, she whispers it.
Okay.
It is in the previous encampment far to the south.
Okay.
If you can get it for me, I show you some secrets, yes?
Rel whispers that to the rest of the group.
Well,
Alright.
seems like an apt quest.
Yes.
Return to camp, warn them not to go south. Then we're gonna go scout out the south, right?
Are we hitting the fast travel button?
Well, I'm just going over our list.
Can't do it with enemies nearby.
Return to camp. Warn camp. Give them the moss and the lichen. Food and the light. Warn them about going south. And then we're going to go scout the south. Right?
I think that's the idea.
Alright.
Sure. Okay. So you gather some of the kind of fungi or fungi that's littering the walls, and some of the lichen. And they see you out. With Tacitus leading you, it's pretty easy to avoid the traps. He actually points out one or two as you're walking, and most of you do not have a high enough passive perception to detect these, so it could have been pretty terrible.
What about 18?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. There are several traps in the way. One of them is particularly vicious, as he points it out to you. There's a set of stalactites up above, probably 40 feet, and a tripwire that runs up the wall to the floor, and it seems like it would set off something at the top of it, which would just cause like 20 stalactites to fall. It would crush anyone below. But you make it past all of those. I'm gonna go ahead and
Do we need
start
roll
from
and
here.
nearby?
We are gonna find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so we're gonna call this. Just roll me 3d12s.
I got 1. 3.
I can get one.
Oh, I guess I'll do the third.
Sure. All right, you guys managed to make it all the way out with Tacitus. This is pretty far into the second day. As you return to camp, you notice that there is a couple of people waiting for you at the entrance, actually. Several individuals that seem kind of like they've set up this smaller, not necessarily a fort base or anything, but this smaller, tiny encampment. It's about 6 or 7 of them. And as you emerge from these steps that lead down into the darkness, you recognize Kasha, the quartermaster, and you kind of, you made it. You're the first party that's actually returned.
No shit.
Yes,
Takes a lot more than that to kill us.
you sent your best.
And the best have returned. Come, we have to go. We have to go meet the triumvirate.
Oh, we brought an ambassador with us as well.
The who?
As Tacitus kind of peeks his head out. Is that a Kushal looks around. Is that a kobold?
Yes, it's a kobold.
Huh.
We found another encampment, and he's the ambassador that we brought with us.
Oh, this is excellent news. Come. The triumvirate would love to hear this.
Who's the triumvirate?
That's the three leaders.
Powers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Hyan, Akira, and Bryce. And he leads you back to the Athenium. It's currently basically nighttime, and you have to wait around for a minute while he goes and rouses everyone. But as soon as he does, you see them, and they all sleep within the Athenium, so they're pretty close by. Bryce comes out in his kind of standard tunic, sleepy-eyed. You see Akira, who looks pretty fresh, and Hyan looks like she wasn't ever asleep at all. They all come to kind of this forward table that has been set up as like a kind of more or less a war table. Hyan is the first to speak up to you.
Yes, you have brought us news?
Yes, and a tiny kobold as an ambassador.
She looks down and she gives the kobold a big nudge.
Hello, tiny friends. I welcome you here.
Question real quick. Who all's in the room?
Currently, there's about 20 different people in the room. Some of them are various ranks within the Mages Association or the Vigil. There's not very many people from the actual Explorers Guild here. Hyan kind of camps out here by herself with a handful of bodyguards, and that's it. Other than that, there's no one else in the room except for make me a perception check. Yeah, you don't see anybody important in the room at all, except for the 3 people in front of you.
Also, the moss. I imagine at least one of us would have carried one of each. That way, we wouldn't contaminate the samples with each other, because one's toxic and one's not.
Probably wise.
Yeah, I would have grabbed some moss, so.
Yeah.
Which moss did you grab?
The lichen. The food.
And I grabbed the light and I put it on the table. This is light moss. And
Cool.
that is edible moss that doesn't taste very good.
They're not both moss. One of them is literally like mushrooms.
Lichen, whatever. It's edible. That's all you gotta know. This is not. Do not eat it. Period.
Akira steps forward and takes picks up the oh my god, my brain. Picks up the light moss. What the fuck was this shit called? Oh my god. Anyways, he looks it over for a little bit.
Apparently,
Fungus.
Well, it's got an actual name. I don't remember what it is though.
apparently the oozes don't like what the light from this moss is, so it would be good for the library.
Interesting. And you said this is toxic.
Yes, it's toxic. Apparently your bowels turn inside out.
He breaks a huge chunk off and just chews it and swallows it.
Oh dear.
Interesting texture. Tastes vaguely reminiscent of coconut, I believe. Oh no, that's definitely toxic. Oh, there's some indigestion there. That's going to come out poorly. Yes, that's definitely toxic. Don't eat that.
Are you gonna be okay?
I'll be fine. Poisons don't concern me usually, and this one seems to be fairly potent. You might be able to make something out of this, perhaps.
That's
and
what my thoughts were.
It's still glowing. Every time that it gets in enough shadow, it seems to just start to glow. However, it has to have enough shadow is what keeps kind of recurring.
It's really good for keeping the slimes or the oozes away, so we were thinking you could litter them around the Atorium?
Yeah, Athenium.
Athenium, sorry.
Yeah.
The Athenium to repel the oozes.
And the cobalt should know how to cultivate it and sweat moisture. You know, cultivating things.
Right. Hyan speaks up to you.
Where did your little friend come from?
We went to the crossroads. Kobolds were getting attacked by, what were those things again? Oozes and the stonemen. And then apparently one of them reminded someone of the from the camp. We killed them all. This was the only one that survived.
Someone
took us-
reminded one of the camp.
Yeah.
One of the stone men that attacked me, his face looked like one I had seen at camp. I'm not quite sure who it was.
Oh, wow. You see her eyes kind of go wide. She looks back at Bryce and Akira, and she looks around for a moment.
Do not share this with anyone. Please.
What happened?
Okay.
We've noticed when the stonemen attack, 1 or 2 or 3 people will go missing.
They're turning our people, aren't they?
I think so.
So
I'm not
they
sure.
are on
Perhaps we should keep our voices down then.
What were you saying, Siege?
Is remarking that they're similar to undead in that fashion. Then
Oh,
Yes, I would say so. And I agree, keep your voices down. Do not mention this to anybody. If words get out, panic may sprout, yes?
But the Smaws, apparently they grow fairly fast. So, should have some up.
Akira. Akira steps forward. Yeah, yes. Your druids can, they can expedite this, yes?
and Akira kind of nods. Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I'm not a druid. I don't know too much nature magic, but as far as I know, they can.
Good. Do so.
Akira nods. I'll set this up. This seems
Just make sure to mark
Seems
which
excellent.
one is toxic and which one is not.
well, they look very different, so
I know.
I imagine
but-
I can tell the difference.
Yeah, but you don't know. People can be very stupid.
I can also just sample one, and he kind of perhaps not.
Perhaps not. Yeah.
He takes both the moss and the mushroom fungi, and kind of stalks up with them. He goes, Bryce, I'll let you handle things from here. Bryce gives him a nod. So, what I'm hearing is that we have another encampment near ours.
Yes. They.
About how far?
Yeah.
8 hours,
Listen, yeah, something similar to that.
8 hours?
give or take. This little guy is from it. Sorry, I'm horrible with names, darling. What's yours?
I'm Tacitus.
Bryce looks down at him. And your people are friendly. And,
Let us rest.
Oh, go ahead. They let you rest there.
Yes.
Indeed.
They're friendly and they don't want any conflicts with us, and we don't want conflicts with them.
Did you run into any trouble down below? Anything particularly nasty?
Other than that thing from before that you told us to be quiet about. No. Not yet. But the south of the crossroads, you should not send anybody there until they're very well prepared. Apparently that's where their old encampment was, and it got taken over by the undead stone people and oozes. We plan to go that direction, but if we don't come back, you need to be extremely careful.
He looks to see. She
Ooh.
full report.
That is the full
Beg your
report.
pardon.
Well, no, there's a little bit more, but sorry, I didn't mean to roll that privately.
Oh, that's fine. As you seize while you're giving this report, Relindra, out of the corner of your eye, you notice someone behaving a little funnily. They're pacing too many times too close to you. They haven't varied their pace much at all. In fact, it's kind of amateur hour in the stealth house. They appear to be trying to eavesdrop.
Rel's gonna interrupt Siege. Talk a little quieter.
Can we?
And can I try and sneak up on them?
They have plain view. There's nowhere to hide in here, so it would be impossible. They're not openly trying to eavesdrop. They're trying to be very trying to be very clever about it. They're browsing a book here and there. They're opening one and taking it and putting it back on the shelf. On their what?
One of note, or some camp follower.
They're not anyone that you immediately recognize. No, you don't really recognize them at all. You've probably seen their face.
Can Siege recognize that they're trying to eavesdrop, or is that just something?
I'll give you a perception check. Yeah, go for it. Anybody that wants to can make me a perception check with us.
Oof.
Yeah, they rolled a 19, so only Relindra.
She's just gonna say, keep giving your report, just keep it down, and she's gonna walk off to them.
Okay.
I will. Siege suggests to forget his name.
Bryce.
Says the crossroads is where we encountered several of the stone men and these kobolds. They say that, as my colleagues have mentioned, to the south is a much greater threat, where these foes seem to originate or
Also, they're being summoned in.
What? Please? Continue.
In any case, I suggest we establish a smaller camp there, perhaps of 5 men. Enough people to warn the main camp of a coming, and perhaps stem the tide before it reaches us. Of course, we will go ahead as a forward party, but should something happen, the rest of the camp should be aware of any coming threat.
Bryce nods kind of grimly. I agree. I think a small contingent would be wise, and he turns to Hyan. Don't you? And Hyan turns to you, and they are summoned?
Yes, there's the sword, Swiss sword? Whatever the fuck his name is. Don't know if he's organic or another one of the constructs or whatever, but he's summoning in things. Raising undead, slimes, making those damn constructs.
Interesting. And Tacitus kind of pipes up at this point. From my understanding, he was vicious. He burst into the scene through a wall and raised blades from the ground and slaughtered dozens.
Yeah.
And she, Hyan finally turns to you, and this, and she leans in really closely. This camp follower, do you happen to know who they were? You can get one final history check on this one.
Who?
Not you, Amalia. Okay. You're almost positive they were a member of the Mages Association. And that's really kind of all you're getting. You're like, I saw them in the Mages camp several times. I know that, but that's all you can get out of your head.
Can I try and alter the picture to her remembrance?
No, not at this point.
Wouldn't Rel know them then?
Not necessarily. You don't all know each other. There's quite a few members of the Mages Association here.
Oh, okay.
A little under a third of the population here is from the Mages Association.
Oh, okay.
So it's quite a few people. Like, there's people in my town that I have no idea what they look like, and I live in a town of 400 people. Yeah, but as you describe this person, damn it, Akira's not here. Hyan kind of nods. I will see if Akira can tell me more. Rel,
Yes.
you approach non-directly, so you're kind of like browsing the bookshelves here.
Yeah, getting
Okay.
closer to them.
Okay, you get closer and closer. What are you trying to accomplish specifically?
Get close enough that I can, talk to them quietly.
Okay.
like, you know, right beside, not like right beside them, kind of browsing books or something.
Sure. You get fairly close, and you watch them kind of. They appear to be reading a book, but just by looking at them, they're definitely not reading it. And they kind of shut it and they hastily cram it on the shelf. As you pretty much close in, you're about 10 feet from them, if that.
Who else is around?
Not really anybody in this particular section. You're out 40 feet, 50 feet away from the group that's talking right now. You can still kind of hear bits and pieces of Sige giving his report.
Rel pulls the book off the shelf.
Can I watch them?
No, you don't know they're there. Remember? Okay. Rel?
So, and she says quietly, loud enough that, you know, they can hear from like 10 feet away.
Yeah.
So, who are you spying on us for?
Ooh. The book gets placed back on the shelf. Keep your nose down, kid. And
no.
now that you get a closer look at him, he's pretty forgetful. He very average face, very average hair. In fact, you notice that there is nothing spectacular about him whatsoever.
I will not. Who are you spying on us for?
He just kind of glances over at you. These kind of sky blue eyes. Turns away and starts browsing other books in the area.
Rel closes the book and turns to him. I asked you a question.
Do you raise your voice?
Slightly, yes.
Okay.
Can I roll intimidation?
Sure. This is a pretty high DC. Whoa!
Oh,
all right.
I whispered
He
that to
stops.
GM, my bad.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a 21. He stops. He turns around. There are things going on that are out of your control and mine, and I suggest you back off. If I told you, you'd be dead.
I
So would
highly
I.
doubt that.
I don't. He just kind of gives you that nod that you would give somebody as you pass them in the hallway or something. You just kind of like, yep, okay, no social interaction here.
Give me a name or I report you.
Then report me. Turns around and starts browsing another book.
Rel gets closer to pull out another book, like within touch range.
Okay.
And quickly grabs his arm and shocking grasps him.
Oh, fucking hell. Roll an attack. I'll give you advantage because you're in direct contact with him.
21.
21 hits. Go ahead and roll damage. Okay, he is going to hellish rebuke you.
Oof. Uh-oh.
Yep, roll me a dex save.
Oh, actually, no, I didn't.
Holy fuck, you succeed. As you do this chill creeps up your spine. I mean, it's fucking cold. You do take half of this, which is rounded down as 6. So you take 6 points of cold damage.
Why is this hellish rebuke cold?
There is a reason for this, actually.
Okay.
Yep, there's a bunch of reasons for this. There can be, in the new Mordenkainen terms of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, there's a bunch of new types of tieflings, and some of them have hellish rebukes that are cold or lightning damage.
What? Can mine be lightning?
Do you have hellish? Oh yeah, you're a fucking tiefling.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there is a variant of that. So.
Oh, I don't even have hellish rebuke. Never mind.
Hellish rebuke.
Oh, that's
is an
right.
automatic thing.
No, it's not if you're a certain type of tiefling.
I took burning hands because I thought hellish rebuke being fire was silly.
Oh.
Yeah, there's certain types that can get like various elementals on their hellish rebuke, but he hellish rebukes you. You take 6 points of cold damage. And as you shocking grasp him, he jerks away from you. Are you going to try to hold on to him?
Yeah.
Okay, make me an athletics check.
Oof. Okay, well.
Need to beat a 20. That's
yeah,
a 12.
No.
Oh, you couldn't beat it with a natural 20. As he jerks away from you, he shouts out, "Help! Help! Assault!" And all the eyes turn straight towards you. Do you assault? Do you look away from him at all? Would Rel look away from him?
No.
Okay. As all the eyes turn towards you, Hyan speaks up. Rel, what are you doing?
He was spying on us.
The man kind of stands there, looks at everybody, kind of backs up. I'm not spying on anyone.
Bullshit.
Let's see.
I saw you.
He's gonna roll deception. He's gonna fail fucking miserably. Insight check from Hyan. Yeah, she doesn't believe a word he said. She eyes him. Who are you? I don't recognize you. She stalks forward a little bit, and as he backs up, his hand touches the bookcase, and as he does, you all watch him just get sucked into the bookcase and disappear.
What?
Would I know exactly what he is?
You would, given what you know, and your trait that you have, you would know exactly what that was. This dude's an ooze.
That's nice.
All of you just kind of sit there, and anybody that's encountered an ooze at this point would pretty much have a good idea of what just happened.
No, would I know the particular type of ooze he is?
No. Siege, what was that?
Can I see the, like, am I privy to this? Can I see it?
Yeah, you do end up seeing it. He is gone, though. He vanishes into the bookcase.
Light the bookcase on fire.
Let's not. Rel takes a book off. Like the books he disappeared behind.
Nothing there. You take more.
Better we lose a few books than have a traitor in our midst. Disguise.
As you begin taking more off, there's a crack in the wall behind the bookcase.
Interesting.
Hyan looks at the crack, and looks to you, and then looks around the room. And somebody pipes up, that wasn't... Oh, that wasn't there. We searched this place.
Well, research it
Interesting.
more thoroughly.
Hyan slams a book down on the ground as she kind of yanks it out of the bookshelf and slams it down on the ground. She shouts, I want a full report. All camp members present. And that is where we are going to end the session.
Damn it. I had something I wanted to add.
What were you going to add?
I think it's pretty safe to assume that the oozes have an intelligent leader.
She nods to you. Bryce kind of comes running up. He goes, what the fuck? And Akira finally emerges from his tent with the light mushroom, and he seems to be playing with it. He goes, what's up? Seems to notice it, and yeah, we'll end there.
Awesome.
That was fun.
Yeah,
I had a lot of combat ready, but that was a lot of story, so